time in the run-up to the 2024 election. ABC's Daria Albinger kept an eye on it.
There were no personal attacks, and at times, Republican J.D. Vance and Democrat Tim Walz even seemed to be nice to one another. But things got a bit testy toward the end of the CBS News vice presidential debate when the Minnesota governor asked the Ohio senator why former President Trump still claims he won the 2020 election.
Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer.
Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Republicans say they think J.D. Vance did a great job. Democrats are saying the same thing about Tim Walz. Today, the VP candidates will be visiting some battleground states. Walz will be focusing on Pennsylvania, and J.D. Vance will be in Michigan. This is ABC News. A smoky milestone in California. Officials say wildfires up and down the state have burned 1 million acres this year so far. We're learning more about the deadly attack on a Kentucky judge allegedly shot and killed in his chambers by the former Letcher County sheriff. ABC's Eva Pilgrim says video of the attack was played in court.
Cries heard in the courtroom as disturbing new video showed the moment Sheriff Sean Mickey Steins pulled his gun and fired multiple times on Judge Kevin Mullins. Officers responding to the 911 call at the Letcher County Courthouse just before 3 p.m. September 19th. His attorney saying he was having an extreme emotional disturbance. The sheriff now charged with first-degree murder, pleading not guilty. Eva Pilgrim, ABC News, New York.
Nearly 200,000 hybrid Jeeps are being recalled over a fire risk. Owners of the 2020 through 24 Wrangler and Grand Cherokee models are being asked to park them outside until a fix is made. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Get your tickets today for Blues, Brews, and Barbecues on November 2nd at the Community Rec Center in Marinette, Wisconsin. 6 award-winning barbecue pitmasters go head-to-head while your taste buds get punched in the mouth. With lip-smacking barbecue, you'll listen to Blues Hall of Fame legend Joe Moss. Following Joe, blues icon Toronzo Cannon hits the stage, playing tunes from his #1 album, Shut Up and Play. VIP tickets are only $27.50 and include barbecue samples from all 6 competitors, a full beverage of your choice, VIP pit passport, and both concerts. General admission tickets are just $17.50. Learn more at fishonmarinette.com and click on the pig. That's fishonmarinette.com. Sponsored by Fincantieri Marinette Marine, the Motor Company, Anderson's Culligan, and Farmers Merchants Bank and Trust. Blues, Brews, Barbecues. Come get some.
Supported by Travel Wisconsin.
I'm Lisa Hale with WGBW News. Your news in depth. Find it in the news section at WGBW.FM.
Civic Media News, I'm Derek Tritz. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. A suspect sits in an Arizona jail, accused of a brutal murder in southeast Wisconsin last weekend. Teresa de Jesus Cruz Rubio's headless body was found in Glendale Friday night. Her son allegedly confessed to investigators that he killed her. Police found him after they spotted her car in Phoenix Saturday morning. Donald Trump in Wisconsin claiming Iran's missile attack on Israel Tuesday would not have happened if he were still president. He blames the Biden-Harris administration.
And now we have them in charge of potentially World War III. And World War III is going to be like no other if it happens because of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction.
Trump is the first Republican to campaign in Dane County since Bob Dole in 1996. Kamala Harris campaigns in the Fox Valley Thursday. And that's what you need to know. I'm Derek Tritz, and this is Civic Media News.
The Brewers face elimination tonight. Hi, I'm Jimmy Kuska with sports, filling in for Mike Clemens. The Brewers will play the Mets today in Game 2 of the best-of-3 wildcard round. Yesterday, the Mets defeated the Brewers 8-4, retiring the final 17 batters to take the win. Manager Pat Murphy said the Brewers will need to respond today after not being able to put anything together late in yesterday's game.
Same with them. Neither team got a hit after those runs scored. Neither team got a hit after the run scored. Interesting. I don't know what inning that was, or they got the 5, but whatever it was, nobody got a hit after that. Isn't that crazy?
First pitch is after 6:30 p.m. If the Brewers win, they'll play a decisive Game 3 tomorrow evening. The Green Bay Packers will try to bounce back this week as they play the LA Rams on Sunday after losing last weekend to the Minnesota Vikings. Kickoff this Sunday against the Rams is after 3 p.m. on Sunday. The Milwaukee Bucks announced their 2024 training camp roster on Monday. Camp begins tomorrow for the Bucks. Filling in for Mike Clemens, I'm Jimmy Kuska with Civic Media Sports.
You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
Mostly sunny today. We'll get to around 71 for a high this afternoon, and it will be a bit breezy at times. Wind southwest 10 to 20, gusting to 25. Tonight, clear, breezy, 48. Tomorrow, sunshine, 74. On Friday, mostly sunny with a high of 6.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW.
Coming to Northeast Wisconsin live from the Civic Media Studios and featuring TV and radio broadcast veteran John Maino, along with the City of Green Bay's longest-serving mayor, Jim Schmidt. This is Maino and the Mayor. And here are your hosts, John Maino and Jim Schmidt.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday morning to you out there, Green Bay and Oshkosh and Appleton and points beyond. Where's stuff for? Hey, Todd.
Yes, sir.
Do we have anything we can hand out for that we can send somebody where it's not like it has to be for Green Bay?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, we'll come up with something.
What are you looking for?
What do you need?
Person listening from the furthest away today.
All right.
That's my sister-in-law.
Oh, where?
Florida.
Oh, okay.
Well, she can't win because she's a family member.
Okay, yeah.
She can't win.
Well, you know,
sorry, Deb.
Hey, Todd, remember those? We never had disclaimers at IXX, though. It's like a lot of places, it's like if anybody in your family has won in 30 days, you're ineligible.
Yeah.
Our attitude is just like, let's just get rid of it.
Yeah.
We're not going to go through all the hoops.
Well, no matter where you live, our swag is cool.
Oh,
that's
swag.
true.
Oh,
Yeah, we could send T-shirts
Right.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff is good anywhere. And
I'll tell you what.
That's what I mean, yeah.
The furthest away this morning, if you text in from the Civic Media app, we'll send you a WGBW T-shirt and a WISS T-shirt. Both of them have great logos.
They do.
They look great.
They're awesome.
I don't have a WSS T-shirt, do you?
No, Todd wears it though.
Yeah, I
once in a
know,
while.
but he
That's
never
a cool
gives-
shirt.
I think Todd has his own closet at home.
Yeah, I want to get the logo. I got some clothes I'm going to put the logo on.
He's got swag from all over.
Yeah.
Talk to Nikki. She's already ordering stuff
Yes.
for you guys.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome.
They want to actually create, you know, how, Jim, you like to wear like Hawaiian prints once in a while? You wear Hawaiian prints on
I
your
do.
shirts?
I have a couple, like with
Yeah.
the shirt with like.
Is it weird that every morning now I think to myself, what would Jim not be wearing?
Right?
Is that
Actually,
the
Jim
sign?
and I are kind of close.
No,
Yeah,
that's-
very
yeah,
close.
it is.
You
But-
guys are very close.
But they're
very, very close.
just bring a wardrobe. Bring a couple shirts down here. They don't have to worry about it. That's it. That's why I have people keep a couple
like
shirts
me,
here.
he only has a couple.
Yeah.
So if you take
Is
two
it-
out.
Is it a blue day? Yes or no?
Yeah.
All right, fine. 41 out there.
Yeah. I was gonna say last night, you guys. I just want to give a plug to. We had promoted a song in the Green Bay Symphony.
Yeah.
Green Bay Civic Symphony, I should say. And then the Preble students cooked the meal, and then our friend Ace emceed the event. That's what it was. And it was just great last night. I mean, they had 75 people in this orchestra, which was really can put out a lot of music. And the students were great with the food. And they have another event coming up at the end of this month. And I want to get some more information on that. But they're really reaching out to get more interactive things. This is the same group that does the airport. Do you ever see that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They do that. And they get a lot of people there for that. And last night was a pretty good crowd. And I just think this symphony sometimes had a reputation of a little bit hoity-toity.
Well, just the word symphony.
Right. But they really, they did a great, like Cajun food, which of course Ace loved. And then a whole tribute to Louis Armstrong.
Oh, that's cool.
With the symphony.
Wow.
That was pretty cool. His
very
whole
cool.
medley of,
Does
Louis
Ace sing?
like you. So he doesn't.
What does that mean? Amenity centers. Did they do? Because I could have done Louis. I could have done. I see
Yeah,
thieves
they played
of
it all.
green.
What I liked about there was no singing. It was
Dear
just music.
children, too.
Yeah. I like just music.
But that's not a bad Louis Armstrong, is it? It's from Good Morning America. Yeah.
Anyway, it was a great event.
All right.
Hey, and then Thursday, no, you're going to that thing at Epic Thursday.
Yes.
But there's a
Operation Song.
And I'm going to the Tarleton Thursday. They have big band night.
Oh, really?
The first Thursday of every month.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
We're going to that.
I actually like big band music.
So do I.
I actually do.
But I'd committed to that with another group of people. So.
You know that project I don't like to, I've been reading a lot of things. I read the Stoic manual. And one of the things that Marcellus Aurelius always thought was important.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
I don't know what the Stoic manual is.
Stoicism.
And I don't know.
It's the biggest thing going in the country right now.
Okay.
It's the biggest thing going in the country.
Bigger than the New York Times.
Oh, lots bigger. So anyway, no, but Stoicism. It's a way of life. It's a way of it's philosophies from the Greeks and everything like that from way back.
Yeah.
That have held true. And like the Navy SEALs follow a lot of that stuff.
Like
a lot
Confucius.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things is, if you're working on something that could be really good for you, whatever, okay, don't spread it around too much because all those people will be pulling against you. Isn't that something?
I don't know if I believe it, but that's
Well, I'm just saying, maybe I
understand
got a little bit wrong. It's
Yeah, I
like
think you got
a
a little
lot
bit
of people, instead they'll say, don't trust. If a lot of people say, "Oh, that's so great, I'm really pulling for you," and deep down they're not. So basically, it's wait. What? What?
I don't think that's true.
Wow.
I think
Okay. Well, this is like 5,000 years old, Jim. I think they knew what they were talking about. But anyway, what I'm going to say is
say not
this.
trust your fellow man. Come on.
I don't.
Okay.
So anyway, like Jack Nicholson said in what movie was it? I have so little faith in humanity. I look both ways before crossing a one-way street. You got to admit, you probably do that.
Yeah, I know.
Especially in downtown Green Bay.
And I there are times where
You better do it.
I wish I had more faith.
Somebody
in
was doing
fellow
that
man.
the other day, and I'll tell you what. I've lived here for a lot of years, and I still have to double clutch or double think sometimes. Where it turns one way, and you want to turn to the right by the gas station that I love down here.
Yeah.
What is it, the corner gas station? I can't think.
Marathon.
Downtown gas station.
Well, Marathon, or you mean the car?
No. The car, the garage, not gas station.
Downtown
I'm sorry.
Auto.
I love that place.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I've gotten such great service from that place.
Yeah.
And they're just so old school, and I mean that in the best way possible because they're personable, they're friendly, they're,
Grease on the hands.
Come
out and look at your car, and
I hope, you want to talk about treasures of Green Bay, I hope that place never dies.
You know what's great about working in the building that we did over there,
Right.
the WBAY building? If you had car trouble, they were right across. the
Right.
street.
Right there.
I can't tell you how many times I had to take my junkers over there and please help me. I'm a poor radio guy, And they're like, well, you could do this and this, but you can just do this for now.
Totally agree.
And again, they were kitty corner from City Hall, so it was just it was.
But what I'm saying is, I still sometimes
getting
want
out of
to
there
make sure
can be tough.
I'm not
Yeah.
turning the wrong
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
coming out of that
No,
area.
that's true.
Yep. No, so what I'm saying is, but that other project I'm working on that I talked about with Dennis from the Glam Band and Frank and everybody.
I want to see that.
Okay. But anyway, that lady we had in the other day who sang like 40s music.
Oh, yeah.
A little earlier, but yeah, she was
a couple
great.
weeks ago?
Yeah, no, right. Not.
She was in on Friday.
Right.
Yeah, that's okay. When she did that kind of big band 40s stuff,
right?
Wow, was that great?
Yeah.
And I talked to her about incorporating that with what we're working on. She said, "Oh my God, I would love to do that."
Yeah.
I can see her dressed up like somebody from 1943, the way those
sisters,
Andrews sisters, or whomever.
Well, that
I like. I would go to a concert like
stop
that. If it
talking
was
about it and
that stuff.
put something on paper. Like you have to start. Have you written this? You haven't.
No, but I've picked 7 of the stories so far.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's a start.
Yeah, because I got to start timing it out because we figured 90 minutes. Dennis and I have talked about
Don't
this.
worry about the time. Put the outline together and that's so you got 7 stories. That's going to be not that. That's like 7 chapters, right? You just you write those and then we'll put it together.
Well, I don't
Or you
have to
put it
write them.
together.
They're already written. They're from my book.
Right.
It's going to be the extra. It's just going to be actors portraying people in the book.
And you are
narrator.
Are you the producer of this, or are you going to pick the actors?
No, Frank and Dennis are.
Oh,
I've got a couple that I've got in mind.
Yeah.
One which would be really cool. This lady who was a nurse in World War II went through horrific things. Wonderful, wonderful lady. And her great niece looks exactly like her.
Oh, that's cool.
And as a school teacher, I'd love to have her play that role.
When is this going to debut?
Well, I was hoping for around Memorial Day.
Okay.
Either Memorial Day or the 4th of July.
Okay.
One of those two.
That's far enough away. You can
It's
get that
doable.
done. Oh, yeah.
It's doable, but I'd like to do it at the Tarleton.
As you should.
Yes.
Don't forget that Fringe Fest will be back next year, which would be a great place
That'd be
for
a
you
good
to
place
do
to
that.
debut that.
That's where they did all those little plays and music and
Oh,
shows.
yeah. I forgot about that.
And the Tarleton's involved
You're
with
right.
that. Yeah.
I forgot about that. That's a fun place just to walk into, though, isn't it, the Tarleton? 'Cause it's still got all that old feel to it. You know, they restored it, but just enough, to make it up to code or whatever.
100 years old.
Yeah. Well, that's phenomenal. And you're pretty excited about your event, aren't
Oh, yeah.
you?
I got the invites done.
Yeah.
They're going out on, I'll show that to you during break. They're at the
I heard John Kennedy is really good.
He is. Kennedy's great, and yeah, he's going to be great. That's going to be a fun event. And
Can we get him in to talk to us?
We have a 9-piece orchestra playing.
Wow.
30s and 40s music.
Really?
And they're really
That's
into
cool.
it. Those guys not yesterday, 2 days ago, we met with them. And when we introduced Vince Lombardi, they're playing the Packer song.
Yeah.
And Kennedy, of course, hailed to the chief. But it's a pretty good, we got the program's done, the outline. It's going to be great just to celebrate the
date
history,
is?
November 9th. And the history of Green Bay. We were going to focus on the Northland, but it's really more on who was there, right? We talked about, Eleanor Roosevelt, and they're going to give talks. And the Kennedy speech is the best. I don't say it's the best. I like it the best because it's the same speech he gave when he was here. And it's so fitting. It's unbelievable what he said about helping. The minimum wage was, he wanted to raise it from $1 to $1.25. That's.
Whoa. In
That's
1960?
And that's a percent. I mean, that's
not
significant.
bad. When I worked at my brother's gas station in 1971, I made $1.35 an hour.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad minimum wage, I would think, for that era.
Well, he needed it. He talks about how that's going to help the economy. It just makes sense. And, today, obviously, you have to change the numbers. But his
Hey, did you see
message was
those
the same.
dock workers?
Yeah. Did you see what they make?
Over 200,000.
200,000.
A third of them make
Longshoremen. 200. Over a third of them make 200,000.
Now, they have to use a lot of overtime for that.
Right.
Sure. But
Right.
still, the opportunity is there to make almost $250,000.
Don't you
on
think
the docks.
let's take a couple years off?
I would be okay with it.
Go over there.
You know what they're really worried
Is
about?
that dangerous, though? Is that tough work?
I would think, but did you see some of what I think is the biggest thing that they're fighting for in this is all the artificial type of automatic loading things, automatic this, automatic that.
No, that's technology.
I don't.
And things like, oh no, we don't. Like, be like when I had my company, like we don't want to get a packaging machine because it's going to eliminate. It's like no, they don't have to pay overtime, and automation is. You have to be automated. You're not going to be competitive, and yeah, they're really fighting that.
Yes. That's one of the big things.
I wouldn't give into that.
It's almost like, remember the screenwriters?
I'd retrain them.
Remember when the screenwriters went on strike?
Yeah.
You know what their number one thing was? Wasn't money.
AI.
AI.
Yeah.
So people are starting to get real nervous about those things.
Well, somebody was just
Think
what,
I get-
the author was
The
just
author
in
had
yesterday,
his,
right?
his voice book.
Yep.
Was his audio book was done AI.
I've got a friend who does nothing but podcasts and makes a ton of money doing them. Now he's writing podcasts and there's no hosts. It's all AI. And
Wow.
you listen to it and you're like,
Unreal.
But so I sent him some audio of your voices. We're going to see what he can come up with on
Here's
that.
the deal, though. When he, what?
Oh, yeah, John
this guy. But when AI does the research and the voice,
yeah,
you're just sitting around collecting money.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah, this is too bad.
Yeah.
And then the junk picker guy too, huh?
Yep.
Who?
Yep. American Pickers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he passed
Frank.
away. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know they had a big riff.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's because he
I
did.
didn't know
Yeah,
that. I thought it was just sick.
No.
All right, we got a big show. We're going to be back right after this.
This is the talk of Green Bay, WGBW.
Farmers in Wisconsin have always been ahead of the times, and it's no different in the mid-1800s. George Esterly was running a large wheat farm outside of Whitewater, but reaping his crop by hand was back-breaking work. Esterly invented a mechanical harvesting machine and used it in his own fields in 1844. He then won a Chicago Mechanics Gold Medal 4 years later. But was he the first in the country to build a harvesting machine? The answer is coming up. Esterly followed up his win by opening a factory in the Whitewater area, building the harvesting machines and eventually other farm equipment too. By the 1880s, 500 people worked there. So was Esterly the first in the country to build a new mechanical harvesting machine? Yes. This man's early farm invention lives on as a remarkable slice of Wisconsin. I'm Terry Barr.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
It is National Monte Cristo Day. It's kind of one of those sandwiches, it's like bell bottoms. You just haven't heard about it in like 40 years. But it got me thinking, what's a sandwich that's totally overrated? I'm going to go first. The Philly cheesesteak.
Really?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm spoiled. Because in Wisconsin, we have the brat packed with tons more taste than a Philly cheesesteak.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 till 8 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app. The top.
Hey, welcome back. Maino the Mayor here on a chilly, and it's the first time we've used that term in a long, long time. A chilly.
Well, we've used the term chilly a lot.
Yeah,
but not for the
well,
weather.
how do you like your chili? Green Bay 41, Appleton 45, Oshkosh 47 on Custodial Worker Appreciation Day.
Isn't that nice?
Very cool.
That's cool when you hear about these schools that honor, like, we call them janitors, but, you know, and they honor them or they give them, like, a card, a thank you card if they're retired. That's just, yeah, those are really, really important people.
You know what you realize now in looking back? We had one guy at my school up until high school, the Catholic school I went to, okay? We had one guy, Joe Kratz, okay?
Yeah.
Joe Kratz would pick everybody up in the morning on the bus, okay? Joe Kratz would do all of his things all day. He would drive everybody home after school. Then he'd drive all the basketball teams to and back from every game.
Wow.
And then be back at the thing at like 6 in the morning, turning on the boilers or whatever.
Yeah.
You realize now how long those guys' days were. They're like 14. I mean, you'd have a basketball game in, let's say, Channing, which is like an hour and a half away from, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're getting back at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, back again. You know what I mean? All day. Those guys, I like that there's a custodial. I remember he got mad at me a few times, though, because I remember one time I went back to school before I should have, and had the flu, and I threw up a couple of times.
Yeah, they got to clean all that stuff.
And he made me go get that orange stuff.
Yeah.
Remember that orange stuff
I
that smelled
totally
terrible?
do.
Actually, can I be honest with you?
Don't talk about
no,
that.
No. What? That orange stuff that I drink?
Yeah.
That little something has a little.
Do you know what?
Rest of that orange stuff.
That may be exactly what it was.
You were tasting.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's stay away.
Because I was trying to think. I know this smell or this kind of thing in my
food
mouth.
brings you back. Music.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
And smell.
But that was not.
Isn't that what it was?
That
orange
is-
stuff.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Do they still make that orange stuff?
Yeah, they'd put that over there.
Yeah.
Those
those guys had to go. Oh man.
Yeah, God bless them. Yeah,
God
I'm glad
bless
we have
them.
a day for them. Custodial Worker Appreciation Day. That's
I love it.
just schools. That's businesses
Sure.
everywhere. But
no matter
yeah.
where. What?
Yeah.
Congratulations
Wow.
on that.
Yeah. Thanks for doing what you do.
Today's also Farm Animal Day. You didn't have any farm animals, did you? Like anything like a? You know, I'm trying to get on this lady that she's a Facebook friend, and I like a lot of my guests I just get from Facebook. You know, I go through them. And, oh my gosh, my Facebook friend. That's interesting. That's interesting. Well, she raises Nigerian dwarf goats. Okay. And she runs a little store type thing, like of the soap and the different things she makes out of them. And I guess they're a special kind of thing. I'd love for her to bring in a Nigerian dwarf goat.
Please give me your information on
I
that.
will.
Let's do that.
I will.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is so white in Nigeria?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's the kind of thing.
All
If
right,
they're
I'd
just
like to
a
find
goat, well, okay,
Right, because you see those little goats at like the
But I like those unique kind of things. We got the alpaca.
How do you
guy
know the
coming,
guy's
right?
from Nigeria?
Well, I don't know. Maybe she went to Nigeria and bought it.
But how can you tell? Like, how do you know? Like you look at a little goat, like you go to the fair, right? And they got the big goats, and they got those little goats, which are the cutest goats, right? How do you know if they're from Nigeria? You know what I mean? Like I don't get.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Do they have different? Do they have a different look to them? Like I don't get the whole Nigerian thing.
Yeah,
Like I like the little goats. I get that. I don't understand. Just are there like the Tanzania goats or there Congo goats? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
How many countries are down there in Africa? Like what, 80?
I love the stuff that he drills in on.
I know, right?
Well, it doesn't really matter, but I want to know.
Nobody cares.
I'm not sure they're really Nigerian.
I'm just curious.
How do you know?
All those
I don't know.
countries in Africa, how do they know it's
We got a
that
text. Nigerian is the goat breed, Jim.
Thank you.
Oh, so it's not from the country.
It's just
I would think originally they would be.
I think we got to get her on the show.
Okay, you told me
we're
you
going
went to an Ethiopian restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
How do you know that's Ethiopian food?
Because I was in Ethiopia. You eat with your hands.
Okay, besides that.
The food was fresh, picked that day.
From Ethiopia?
Well, from
Were
the
you
country.
in Ethiopia?
Okay.
Well, I'm just asking you because you've been to Africa.
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah.
I got a question here. Hey, Jim, how do you know German Shepherds are from Germany?
Okay, see, that's.
How do you know German chocolate
originally-
cake is from Germany?
We don't. That we know. German. See, that's what I'm asking about this Nigerian goat. Was his dad's name Nigerian? Does it have anything to do with the country? It's like
So,
German cake
okay.
doesn't have anything to do with Germany. It has to do with the guy who invented it. His last name was German.
So
True.
here's what.
So I'm curious. The German Shepherd. I think I might know a little bit about that one.
The Nigerian dwarf goat is a modern American breed of dwarf goat. Like the American pygmy goat, it derives from the West African dwarf group of breeds of West Africa. So it comes from there.
It does come there.
Thank you.
That's cool.
Thank you.
You know how I found that out? Wikipedia. And Lisa Hale also
I was
helped
gonna run.
out.
I was going to
Hey,
go
by
to
the
that
way,
break.
I got for Friday for our Packer throwback.
Yeah.
Former Packer quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner Ty Detmer
Loving that.
will be our guest. Talked to him yesterday. He's in Gilbert, Arizona. It was 108.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Again, I just think we have so much going for us here, and we don't talk about how great our weather is. I mean,
well, the lady asked me. I
did you
was
see
talking
how
to
many
the
people
receptionist.
died in that
Flood?
Flood? Is that what are they?
Did you see it?
150
Did you
now?
see 160, and
Yeah.
there's still many, many, many that they haven't found.
And
Yeah, it's horrific. One of the worst ever.
40 counties in Georgia under disaster relief right now. Wow. 40 counties.
yeah.
Now,
It's gonna be happening.
I mean, that's affecting you, huh, Todd?
A little bit.
I mean,
'cause
seriously,
I
I mean-
do some work down there, and their high school sports are all over the place, and stations without power yet, and yeah.
Yeah, are the
That's
radio
rough.
stations on the air?
We got them all back on this week, finally. But there's parts. Augusta is it's devastated.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did Augusta National get hit?
I don't know.
Well, I don't.
Did you know that the week before the Masters, they have guys, groundskeepers, go around and search the bushes and everything for rattlesnakes?
Really?
And they always pull out a bunch of them. Isn't that kind of funny when you
I
think
would
about
not
that?
want to be an advanced.
I know,
man
what a
for
job
that.
you got.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they find water moccasins and different things like
Yeah.
that.
No way.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. I'm kind of with you. So, we have to talk about, we always say if it's the biggest story going, you got to talk about it. Go ahead with the debate.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people watched it. I don't see numbers on it.
I watched about 15 minutes.
Oh man, I got home late because I was at that symphony thing. So I got home at 9:15. I thought it was, compared to the other debates we've been watching over the last few years, it was civil.
Yeah,
it really was.
Yeah. You know,
that was nice.
It was.
There
those
wasn't
guys
that
have-
feeling of, I just want to hurt this person as badly as possible and embarrass them.
Or I'm going to turn this off. I can't watch
Right.
it. And I was like, hey, this is kind of interesting, and little fact checking
I just
on
get
both
so,
sides.
I'm sorry. God bless all of our politicians. It's like being in class of a class you're just not interested in. And I know I should be, but I'm going to use the age thing now. It's like, I'm past the point of whatever. You know what I mean? Of being too, no, what I'm saying is though, I'm just not, I mean, I'll vote, I'll do all those things, but to sit and hear the same stuff.
How often we got the Melkors coming on? We talk about housing. They both had ideas on housing. One's use federal land. It's going to be interesting to see how we solve the housing crisis.
And that's why you're here. We're going to set a quick break. Right on the mayor. Back up this.
Into the talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Todd Allball Show.
Enjoying this local program? Find the complete Civic Media lineup at civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app.
Farm Rescue, a nonprofit organization that provides free planting, haying, harvesting,
commodity hauling, and livestock feeding assistance to farm families who have experienced a major illness, injury, or even natural disaster, has officially added Wisconsin to its growing list of service states. Dan Erdman, Marketing Program Manager at Farm Rescue, shares how they've gotten to this point to be able to expand since their inception in 2005.
We do work all across the Midwest. Like I said, it's 9 states, and early on, it was immediately apparent that this is not an isolated need. There are families dealing with unexpected injuries, illnesses, or natural disasters across the country. So when we have the resources available and volunteers and funding to expand our mission, that's always been a major goal. And Wisconsin is another great, agriculturally driven state. It works well within our current geographical footprint, and we're just honored to have the opportunity to offer our services to Wisconsin farm families in crisis.
You can learn more about Farm Rescue by heading to MidwestFarmReport.com. I'll have more news right after this.
Pioneer brand Z Series soybeans have farmers yielding out an additional 2.7 bushels per acre over A Series. This has everyone talking, not just farmers. Case in point, a trucking company wrote, "Morning, noon, and night, it doesn't matter. I'm hauling Z Series. The phone doesn't stop ringing. Even my home number, it never stops ringing." Well, it's fair to say Pioneer brand Z Series soybeans are making quite an impact. Unleash your greatest harvest yet at pioneer.com/new era.
Football players are equipped with standard equipment, helmet, shoulder pads, and cleats. What if the entire front line was issued Bobcat equipment from Bobcat Plus? Not only would the game be more interesting, the added Bobcat attachments would make cleanup and turf grooming so much easier for the groundskeeper.
Visit Bobcat Plus in Butler and BobcatPlus.com. Bobcat, one tough animal.
I'm Charity Seebecker for the Midwest Farm Report with a look at your agribusiness news. World Dairy Expo will welcome U.S. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack to speak at the Global Dairy Summit here in Madison. The event, hosted by the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, takes place on Friday, October 4th at 9 a.m. The summit will be held at the Tanbark on the Expo grounds at Alliant Energy Center. This event is free to attend with a paid admission to the World Dairy Expo. You can learn more at MidwestFarmReport.com. If you are headed out to World Dairy Expo anytime this week, be sure to keep an eye out for Pam and all of us here at the Midwest Farm Report, as we'll be there getting more news to keep you up to date on all things agriculture. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Charity Seebecker.
This is your local civic media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
Mostly sunny today. We'll get to around 71 for a high this afternoon, and it will be a bit breezy at times. Wind southwest 10 to 20, gusting to 25. Tonight, clear, breezy, 48. Tomorrow, sunshine, 74. On Friday, mostly sunny with a high of 69. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Currently, it's 42.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. Talk to someone if you're struggling with mental health, because most people out here really care. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
From the Lake Shore to Lake Winnebago.
Door to Fond du Lac counties.
Northeast Wisconsin is special for many different reasons. I'm Lisa Hale.
And I'm Terry Barr. Family and fun.
Safe communities and friends. We're featuring all of it as part of New Wisco Weekend, a news magazine show just for you, and highlighting what makes the Fox Valley and Green Bay area a great place to live. Join us.
New Wisco Weekend, Saturday mornings at 8, Sundays at 11 on WGBW and WISS and the Civic Media app. From the home of the frozen tundra, Green Bay's choice for news talk. Take Maino and the Mayor with you anywhere. Download the Civic Media app today from the Apple Store or Google Play Store. And text the studio directly, all from the Civic Media app. Download it today. Now, once again, here's Maino and the Mayor, John Maino and Jim Schmidt.
Hey, thank you very much. Welcome back. Once again, a chilly Wednesday morning out there. No wind, though. 41 in Green Bay, 45 in Appleton, 47 in Oshkosh. The rest of the week looks pretty good, though, right, Todd? And then maybe next week turns a little bit.
Yeah, we might have one more cooler day this week, but I think we're okay.
Friday night looks good for high school football. It looks fantastic. Can't wait. What else is today? Coffee with a Cop Day. I like that idea.
Yeah, that's good.
I think that's great. Pumpkin Seed Day. You know, those are really good for you. I mean, they're just loaded with vitamins. I think it's zinc and things like that. Pumpkin seeds are really, really good for you.
Oh, I got to carve some pumpkins. So, yeah.
Do me a favor.
I'll bring you some seeds.
Well, but roast them for me.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because they're delicious and they're so good for you.
Oh,
Kale Day, that's another thing that's really good for you. I eat as much kale as possible.
You don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I do.
Kale is good.
What is it?
If you
It's
bake,
a lettuce type thing, right?
Yeah, but if you bake it, you're supposed to eat that because it has that crunch, and some people like that. But in lieu of chips, you can.
Can you
eat,
grow kale?
I
Or
don't
is it
know.
something that's
It's
made?
not that expensive. I don't know.
No, but I mean that's what I mean. You can get kale seeds.
No.
No.
Yeah, you can, can't you? It's just a
Wasn't
lettuce.
kale like
basically.
lettuce?
Yeah,
I don't know.
So you can plant
Okay.
seeds, sure.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. But kale is not that expensive, and if you put olive oil and salt and pepper and just bake them, and those chips are good. They're thin, but they're
I have
good.
to tell you,
No?
my sister did that for a while. I know she's listening this morning. That's so good.
Not so good.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, you can't compare it to. They say it's in lieu of Lay's
Lay's?
potatoes. You can't do that. Nothing beats
Do
Lay's.
you just roast them or
Yeah.
bake them?
You can do that. You can throw them in a salad. You can put it in soups. You can do all sorts of stuff. with
Okay.
You don't have to bake them. You can just eat kale like you eat lettuce.
You want to know another thing? They talk. You know, by the way, you know what really?
Remember Jim Gaffigan? Enough about this kale. Because it was like the big thing. And
Well, that and you know the other thing big right now because I'm big into my smoothies now.
Yeah.
Yep.
My Wayne Kajava smoothies, which is helping me immensely. And by the way, how far did I walk yesterday?
I don't know. I don't care.
Todd, major prize package. How much did I walk? It's a round even number.
Really?
As far as minutes, how many minutes?
Oh, minutes.
30.
No, I'm going to say.
Actually, I got it on my. I'll show Jim, so I'm not lying.
I'm going to say 90 because you did 90 minutes
Okay.
the other day, right?
Yep. Okay, hang on just 1 second here. Jim, talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
Here's my stopwatch that I use. Okay, how many minutes I did?
A nice even round number, 141.23. That's so round, John?
Well, basically 100.
No, 141. It's
Well,
a hell of a lot more than
101.
100.
141 minutes.
That's not a round number.
No, I mean 100 minutes. 100 minutes. Just 1 hour and 41 minutes on my thing. See what I mean?
Okay, all right. So
it's
that's
100
60.
minutes.
That's 100. Okay, it's 100
Yeah,
minutes.
100 minutes.
All right, I got it. That's 100. That's
Nice.
a long, that's a long
Yeah.
time. That's great.
Yeah.
And that really is. I mean, I wish
But
I walked
I'm
more.
getting almost halfway there for the ruck. My goal for the ruck march, and I'm doing all this for that. I'm just, it's not like I'm some crazy whatever all of a sudden, but I'm doing that because I really want to do the ruck march on November 17th, I believe it is. And I'm still not sure about wearing a ruck. And it's all in honor of prevention of
Like
veteran
I said,
suicide.
Just put cotton in there.
Yeah, I might.
Nobody's going to know.
Then somebody might say, hey, Maino, let me help you with that ruck.
Maybe
Can
that's
you
maybe
inflate
that's
it
such a good
somehow?
idea.
Put a bladder in there and inflate it. But that's my goal is for the ruck march. But my goal is 4 hours, to walk for 4 hours. And I figure if I'm at the same pace I am now, that would be 12 miles. If I could do 12 miles, I'm good.
How long is the rock march?
17 miles.
Oh, okay. The rule of thumb is whatever you can run, you can do a double on race day. You really have that much adrenaline and that much going for you.
So if you can do 12, you can probably do the 17
easy.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah. So
Really?
even when you train for a marathon, you never really run a marathon. I mean, you train, you go up to 17 miles, 18, but you never run 26 miles.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I was just
I was just
who
gonna
are you
say, how
talking?
do you
I
know?
know.
My kids run a ton of marathons, and
Really?
she trains. She does a lot of 20-mile runs, a lot.
But never 26.
I don't know about never. I'm going to call her about that. I don't think so. And I just know that even for the half marathon, we never ran, 13-1. We ran 10 miles, but race day it was so easy.
I've never done a race. I've never
I don't know about the
anything
double
like this in my life.
The double I heard from somebody saying, "Hey, look, man, I'm like, God, I don't know if I can finish this thing. He said, what? How have you run?
So really, if I could
can you run
do-
7 miles? I'm like,
if
yeah,
I
I can
could
run
do-
7 miles. He goes, well, if you can do that, you can run double on race day. Maybe he was telling me his own personal experience. I don't know if that's a fact, but I will tell you this though, Johnny. When you're with a crowd and people are
Yeah.
cheering, you're gonna run. You're gonna go a lot further than you think you can or that you've ever done.
versus just being by yourself.
Yep.
Because when you are by yourself, in your mind it's like, all right, I need a break, or this is too far. Or, so I could see that part.
One of my daughters is, always got to be the comedian, and we're training, running, and she's like, you want to, I tell you, think positive, listen to your music. We weren't listening to music, and she's like, legs are heavy. I can't do this. Just like
psychologically
to mess with
destroying
me.
you.
Can't do it. Legs are heavy. I'm like, oh, I got to shut
I got it. You know what I got to figure out? Is there anybody out there, or Todd, you could probably do this, but I hate bringing stuff more to you because you're always fixing my stuff.
What's up?
I got those earbuds for Christmas. I've never been able to figure them out.
What kind are they? Do you know?
No. We can both bring our earbuds in.
Yeah,
I never
can we
used
do
to
that,
I got
Todd?
them. They're in a little
We'll
box.
do it. Mine too.
Are they white?
I think so. No,
Yeah.
they're black. They're black.
Oh, mine are white.
They got a nice little case.
Yeah,
and
they got a great
every
case.
single person, you will not find a person walking these days on the trail or anywhere that aren't wearing earbuds.
Or working out, you say something to somebody, and they're like,
They have to, yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't even know it was in there. It's
Yeah.
like, I thought they were hearing aids.
That would be so cool to have. I remember jogging back in the day when it was the player disc where it was like the size of a saucer plate, and that was supposed to be like supposed to be able to hook it onto your waist.
That was cool though to do that with the wires and
but trying to carry that or have it on your waist when you're running, that was the worst.
Yeah.
I remember when the first ones came out, where you could, it was the little radio with the head things.
Yep.
That was like, whoo.
Walkman thing.
Yes, the first Walkmans. That was cool. But music makes such a difference when because like yesterday on the home stretch, I just started playing stuff off of YouTube on my phone.
Yeah.
Is that going to cost me money?
No.
Okay. All
Unless you have a plan that you need to pay for minutes and all that kind of stuff and data.
Okay.
But don't you want to just put your own playlist together?
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah.
Or have somebody do that for you. People
I
love
have no
doing
idea
that.
how to do that.
I know. Your daughter will do that for you. It takes them 10 minutes, and they'll send you a list with, 45 minutes of music, hour and a half, however long you want.
How much do you want to bet my daughter will not do that for me? I don't know. Or could I even double the bet? My son doing that for me.
Yeah, he could do that.
Yeah, what do you think the odds are?
He wouldn't do that for you?
What do you think the odds are? I
He's
could call
a pretty
Dom,
good guy.
and Dom will say, hey, Dom, I need you to put together a big music list for me for my earbuds, yada, 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 yada. No.
A playlist for
Playlist.
exercising, for running in.
Yeah.
Like I have Supertramp on there. I got a lot of musicals on there. I got some country. A little bit of country. Like
If you have a service like Spotify, you can just look up running playlist and use it, and it'll just come up with all
and you
songs.
can say you can put it in at 10-minute mile, 9-minute mile, 9.5, and they'll give you music that has that kind of beat.
You serious?
It's serious.
But everybody walks at a different or runs at a different pace.
It's the year 2000, John.
That's why they have different options, because everybody runs at a different pace. So if you want to run a 9-minute mile, then get music that's going to have that kind of beat to it. Although, all right, you can do that. You need to play. Some people just listen if you're walking to people like us or some talk radio stuff.
You know who was the first
podcasts?
You know who was the first major leader of the world that said, his quote was quoted as, "Troops can march twice as far when you bring along the band"?
I believe that.
Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar was the first one that incorporated music when they would march, because he found that the guys would walk literally twice as far with music behind them. Isn't that something?
See, I just said twice as far, right? On
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing, right? You can do twice as far.
Well, I got this text here. This is mayor math.
Well,
we're figuring out the.
You saying, well, you could if you run this, you can do that.
Yeah.
But I don't really know.
That's what I heard.
All right. All right.
What else? Kite Day? Oh, Kale Day. That was Kale Day. Seed gathering season. We're actually going to be talking with somebody about that today. Huh? It's really interesting.
Selena Darrow's coming in. They do a lot of like farm to table stuff with the schools and all that, but she's also into saving these heirloom plants and vegetables and stuff like that. So she'll kind of get into that a little bit.
I like that.
Wow.
Kelly Ripa is 54. I'd almost think she would have been older. She started young, huh?
Yeah.
Tiffany is 53. Whatever happened to Tiffany?
Yeah,
Yeah. Freddie Jackson, 68. He was big in the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's this?
You're my lady.
Yeah.
Oh, that's this guy?
Yeah.
See a one-hit wonder? Why didn't we play him last week?
No, yeah, but his era of music kind of faded.
Want to say,
about 85.
Yeah.
That era. There's like a lot of this kind of music.
Just a guy.
And the music video would have like candles, like fading candles and that kind of stuff. And yeah. Sting is 73. Do they still perform?
I don't think they go around as the Police anymore.
No. One of the all-time great songs.
Oh, yeah.
1980. Don't tell me. I'm going to tell you exactly when this was. 1983.
Right on the money. Wow. You know, he did an interview one time, and he said, so many people got married to this song.
Yeah.
And he said, no, this song is about, like, somebody controlling you. Like, I'm going to watch you, everything you do, every breath you take. He goes, this is not a wedding song.
I don't know.
Wow. You know what's funny? I was listening. I got that serious. I was listening to...
and believe me, she's controlling me. It's not me controlling her.
I forget who it is. Country state, one of these... network, whatever. It's really interesting. They have a lot of interviews with the stars. And I forget, with George Strait, he had that song By the Light of the Neon Moon. And it's a song about a married guy whose wife left him, and all he would do every night is go sit in the bar in the corner by the light.
Imagine country western.
Yeah, but here's the deal. He said, you have no idea how many people use that for their wedding song, thinking that was this really nice. And it's about this woman that left the guy, and he's devastated and drinks all night.
I don't know why you guys don't think those are wedding songs.
Don McLean, 79.
Oh, man.
1971.
Yeah, that's unbelievable how that caught fire, that song. Everybody played
We
that.
talked about this a few weeks
little
ago.
Kids, older people.
You got to watch this documentary on him.
I still don't
on
get
this
that
song. You got to watch this documentary, and he talks about all the different things that were brought into it. And he really talks, because he went to where Buddy Holly crashed, and all the different, and it's pretty amazing some of the things he talked about with that night and everything like that.
Do you remember the record industry actually put out a couple of radio edits? They were much shorter, and a lot of it was cut out. Yeah. They used to do that to a lot of great songs.
Yeah. I think they did it with Hey Jude.
Oh, yeah. Chicago songs, beginnings. There's like the real song's like 5 minutes, but you can get like a 2 minute and 10 minutes.
Yeah. You know what? That's almost like we were talking about Fries from Raytel or whatever. K-Tel.
That's right.
Yeah.
K-Tel, the greatest hits of 1994.
50 songs on one album.
And it would all be studio singers.
And it was in mono.
Yeah. And you'd get that as a gift because your folks didn't know that it wasn't the real singers. Yeah.
This Don McLean, there's a Netflix thing? Where did you see that? Because I remember him
on Netflix.
I remember him on Johnny Carson.
I think I saw the Netflix show on Netflix, Joe.
I remember him being interviewed.
Did you say that Netflix show you saw? Where was that?
Whatever. All right.
Neon Moon was Brooks and Dunn. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Actually, you know what Don McLean's song I always really liked was Vincent and Castles in the Sky.
Oh, yeah.
Castles in the Sky.
I thought those were two really nice songs. Those are kind of make-out songs.
Right, I was just going to say
this.
It's 6:47.
We don't even talk about that. Okay, so back to the debate.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And you watched it?
For a little while. But go ahead.
I think you have to look at that debate as these guys aren't the president. Some of these guys, remember Dan Quayle? I mean, nobody even...
they played back that one segment with Bernstein. Was that Dan Quayle? Where he goes,
that guy.
I knew John Kennedy.
That guy was... No, I'm not talking about the debate. I'm talking about their role in
But they
in
said that was one of the most iconic things ever to happen in a
But
debate.
what I'm saying is the vice president really isn't that important. I mean, they get jobs, they do a lot of speeches, but they're one heartbeat away. And you got to look at those two guys saying, okay,
Did you ever
wait
used
a
to
minute.
watch the TV show Veep?
Yeah.
That was great. That was so good.
Julie Louis-Dreyfus, yeah.
It's like, Ms. Vice President, whatever they call it. You have to remember one thing. You weren't elected.
Right.
She'd be like, I'm the second most popular person in the country. Of all the... Like, well, you're appointed.
But that could be an unbelievable job. So,
but they say things are so unbelievably close. Last night could be a difference maker. Could move the needle a little bit. Just that hair it needs to move. Either way, this song right here.
Is this your buddy
Don McLean?
Yep.
Castles in the Sky.
Oh, yeah.
We've got Selena Darrow, Rooted in Ink coming up. Jim Schliedlow for Rate Mortgage, moving with the Malcors. Jennifer Bogan, Counting Stars Cafe. A lot of stuff. Stay with us.
The talk of Green Bay, WGBW.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop.
That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
She is performing in Wisconsin. Charo, you might want to end up moving here because you're going to have that great of a time in Baraboo. Let me just ask you this. Do you like cheese?
I love the cheese. I'm going to be eating cheese for 24 hours. It's a great, not really, you have a great reputation with the cheese. Wisconsin cheese is very, very famous.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 till 8 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app. The Maggie Dawn Show.
Congresswoman Summer Lee. The American Stability Act doesn't just address the need for raising of the wage. The second thing is that tax reform piece, shifting the burden from the folks who are working class to not just the 1%, the 0.01% of people who have seen so many benefits in this rigged system, and we have to start to unrig it.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekdays from 2 till 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app.
You are listening to your local Civic Media radio station on air. Thank you. Did you know we are always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app too? And if you miss a show or game, find it wherever you get your podcasts or on our website, civicmedia.us.
We've all felt left out. And for people who move to this country, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
You're listening.
And if she asks you why, you can tell her that I told you. That
Hey, welcome back. Wednesday morning. Beautiful music. WGBW 98.3 FM. That's FM. 98.3 FM.
In
excuse me, 97 FM, WGBW. 98.3 FM, WISS in Oshkosh, in stereophonic.
Remember the old days of FM when it was just beautiful music? all over the
Certainly
place?
do.
A touch of elegance.
I remember we had a nun that, so she would let, during, whatever class, art class or something, we could play the radio, but it had to be FM. And it was always like, lemon tree, oh, so lovely, and the lemon is. You know what I mean? It was all that kind of music the whole time. Couldn't wait to get out of there.
I actually have a bunch of stream stations that I kind of own and create. One of them is one of those stations.
Really?
It's a beautiful music station out of Atlanta called The Peach.
It's perfect.
And lots of people listen to it.
Right. Really?
They bring back that old feeling. And
I'll say it again. I just think it's amazing how music can bring you back to a time.
No
And
question.
If somebody likes that, what do you call that? Love music. It just they listen to it all day. They just love it. It keeps them in this space where they're safe, they're comfortable, and they're happy. And not the real world, but
brings you back to a funner, more fun time. It's funner. You hear that word a lot. Funner. That was funner. That's not a word,
that's
right?
a UP word. No, that's not a word.
Oh, I've heard it Wisconsin.
Okay, more fun.
I'm just okay.
More enjoyable. How's that?
That's fine.
Okay.
Also, we've got James Baker and Chris Preddy coming up. Green Bay Blah. They're the producers of a documentary, I guess, for lack of better words, on something they've been working on for a long time: the history of punk rock in the Green Bay area. And I talked to these guys years ago when they first started this. This was really huge, the punk rock thing in Green Bay, and it was really grassroots.
Yep.
I mean, you'd be in the basement of a bar, and they would literally, on the old copy machines, make some signs and hang them on light posts, and it was incredible the people that would turn out.
Yes. That whole underground, is that what it was called?
Yeah.
That was huge in Green Bay.
Huge.
And is that still a thing?
I don't know if it is.
I don't know.
Well, we'll ask.
But it's interesting how you don't hear about it.
No, no, not at all.
Yeah. So this
Well, Rev Norb, who we've had on Rozek, he was like the king of punk rock in this area, and still would be considered, I think, the king. And but I don't know if he performs. I know he used to go to Europe and different places, but I don't know if he does anything around here anymore.
But just because you're not hearing about it doesn't mean it's not going on.
You're right.
You know, I mean, it could be, but I just don't.
yeah.
That's not.
Well, these guys
somebody at my
probably know, right?
age, I just wouldn't be into that.
Yeah, this is the history of Green Bay punk rock documentary in progress that tells the story of the punk rock and independent music scene of Green Bay and its neighborhood communities: Appleton, Oshkosh, Manitowoc, Sturgeon Bay.
Right.
It's easily identified as being the home of the smallest yada yada yada. But it's that Green Bay fostered a punk rock scene that spawned from meager beginnings and had a hardcore roster of local punk bands, some with ties to the football team itself. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So I can't wait to get those guys on. They were really, if they're the same guys from a few years ago, and I did a TV story on them, it's really interesting guys, and talking about how you got to give people credit. You know what? And the funny thing is, if they will find, and you've said this, Jim, if you've got a product or something that has a niche, let them know it's there, and they will flock to it.
If it's a niche here, but I think what I said on that is, if it's a niche and they love it,
yes,
that. But that niche thing goes back to a little test marketing. But yeah, I mean, there's money to be made in these niche markets
because it's type people that maybe, I don't want to say
they'll pay
disenfranchised, but it's like nobody's giving them what they want, and all of a sudden you do,
and then they'll pay a little bit more because it's there. It's like,
of course, Jim,
here it is.
Make more money.
I'm just saying, John, if it's a really small group that at this niche market, there's pretty good margin in niche markets. So
no, anyway. I believe it. Yeah, because you own the market almost.
Right, we do.
Yeah, and punk rock was that way. It gave these kids that liked that stuff. It gave them a live performance type of opportunity,
which is much more important than the money.
Yeah.
What?
That was said.
Who are you?
That was said with such insincerity.
I just sneak that in.
Mind-boggling.
I just, in case you go back and record it, I'm going, no. Go listen to the tape. I said something. Oh, yeah, he did say that. So.
Okay, 1 minute. Back to the debate real quick.
Yes.
You're one of those moderators at the end of the debate. Let's go to former Green Bay Mayor Jim Schmidt. Mayor Schmidt, what did you think of the debate?
I would love to commentate it. I just want to say I didn't see the whole debate. What I saw was, I thought it was civil. And optics are one thing, and I thought, taking notes and writing everything down. I don't know. I think it's just good to listen to the person and respond. I think the moderators didn't do a good job. I said that about the last debate. I have my own show that Lean Local, and when I ask a question, if I ask a question,
dance around it,
well, not even dance around it, Johnny, just answer a totally different question.
Yeah,
like what do you think about what's going on in Israel? Well, if the economic food prices that are too high, it's like, what? That's not what I asked you, and I would circle them back.
That's what I said. I'd like to see the old Peter Jennings as a moderator.
And if you don't answer, I'm going to, like you said, give the time to your opponent. But I thought there were some pretty good questions. Those moderators were good. They weren't great. But I did think it was civil. I like the fact that they said, look, I think we could agree on that. I mean, when's the last time you heard that?
Boy, that was refreshing. Yeah, it really was.
I mean, it's like, wow. Or we can get consensus, or that's a starting point. Look, as I said before, and I've told my kid this for years, we all want safe neighborhoods, good jobs, a good economy, and, world peace. How are you going to do it is the question. And I thought they both had really, really good points. I thought it was interesting. I think I finally learned something in a debate. Sometimes you listen to these clowns, and it's like, why did I watch this? Just wasted an hour and a half. But I thought and they're both good debaters. I think Vance he's a smart dude.
He did better than I was expecting him to.
He's a pretty smart guy. I mean, Harvard guy, but still hasn't been anything.
Walt's totally reminded me of a high school history teacher.
Well, he referenced that a few times.
I know,
too.
But he really, he's a caricature of that. And that's good. That's all. That's middle America or whatever. He is who he is. Put it that. They're both who they are.
To sum it up, it was Midwest nice.
Okay. Very good.
Thought it was great.
Thank you, Mayor Schmidt from Green Bay.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Next, we're going to talk to him about wondering what Nigerian dwarf goats are and his opinion.
How you know?
How you know if it's a Nigerian dwarf goat?
That's what
We got to send a quick break.
Question.
Selena Darrow will be joining us when we come back. Stay with us.
If it's wrong or if it's right, Roxanne.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW. Jane Matnair and Greg Bach.
Coming up on the show, former Republican Congressman from Illinois, Joe Walsh, will join us. Should be an interesting conversation. He'll be here at 10:30. Don't miss it.
Matnair on air, weekday mornings at 10. The Maggie Dawn Show.
Congresswoman Summer Lee.
The American Stability Act doesn't just address the need for raising of the wage. The second thing is that tax reform piece, shifting the burden from the folks who are working class to not just the 1%, the 0.01% of people who have seen so many benefits in this rigged system, and we have to start to unrig it.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekdays from 2 till 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app. Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us. You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay. WGBW 1590 AM Denmark. W250 CV Green Bay. And always streaming on the Civic Media app.
This is a special report from ABC News. Vice presidential debate. I'm Sherry Preston. The pundits with their opinions on how each candidate did in the vice presidential debate last night on CBS. Former Trump White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus praised J.D. Vance's performance.
He went head on against this narrative that he's this snarky, unlikable guy. And he talked about the American dream and his life in the beginning and the end. Waltz lied about Tiananmen Square, and he couldn't get his story straight.
And ABC News political contributor Donna Brazil, a former aide to Al Gore, said Tim Walz did well.
For explaining sometime the difficulty of trying to figure out where J.D. Vance and Donald Trump stands on the important issues. Look, the governor had to do one thing tonight, and that was to close the deal with voters. And I think he did that for Kamala Harris.
It was the first and will be the last time the nominees will appear together on the debate stage. The 2024 November 5th election, now a little over a month away. This is ABC News. Police in Thailand have arrested the driver of a bus that caught fire taking kids. 3 people died in that crash. Anyone taking a break from student loan payments, guess what? The break is over.
A year-long grace period for student loan borrowers ended on September 30th. It allowed borrowers who were struggling to make payments avoid the risk of defaulting and hurting their credit score. A separate program known as Fresh Start is also ending, and President Biden's SAVE program is on hold. No matter what kind of plan you have, experts say a good first step is to talk to your lender if you're having problems. The important thing, they say, is pay at least something each month. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
And a painting once derided by an Italian woman as horrible may be worth a fortune. In 1962, an Italian junk dealer found a painting rolled up in a basement. His wife absolutely hated it, but they kept it for decades. The couple's son finally took it to get appraised. Could be a Picasso. I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
I'm Lisa Hale with WGBW News, your news roundup in quick podcast form. You can find it anywhere at the WGBW website, WGBW.fm.
Out here in the middle of all these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on Earth. And sometimes, that's how it feels when you're going through tough times. Trouble sleeping, your mind racing. So what do? We get help. There are people in our community who are here for us. Sometimes, just talking to someone can make all the difference in the world. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
The Todd Alba Show.
This narrative that the immigrants are coming to get you, that's fiction. Look at criminal charges in your community and look how many of those people who have been there for years, if not decades, and how many of those people are new immigrants, and even a smaller percentage of how many are undocumented immigrants. It's not happening. It would be like going to places and say, well, you know what? I'm running for Congress to stop the zombies.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Civic Media News, I'm Derek Tritz. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. A suspect sits in an Arizona jail accused of a brutal murder in southeast Wisconsin last weekend. Teresa de Jesus Cruz Rubio's headless body was found in Glendale Friday night. Her son allegedly confessed to investigators that he killed her. Police found him after they spotted her car in Phoenix Saturday morning. Donald Trump in Wisconsin claiming Iran's missile attack on Israel Tuesday would not have happened if he were still president. He blames the Biden-Harris administration.
And now we have them in charge of potentially World War III. And World War III is going to be like no other if it happens because of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction.
Trump is the first Republican to campaign in Dane County since Bob Dole in 1996. Kamala Harris campaigns in the Fox Valley Thursday. And that's what you need to know. I'm Derek Tritz, and this is Civic Media News.
The Brewers face elimination tonight. Hi, I'm Jimmy Kuska with sports, filling in for Mike Clemens. The Brewers will play the Mets today in Game 2 of the best-of-3 wildcard round. Yesterday, the Mets defeated the Brewers 8-4, retiring the final 17 batters to take the win. Manager Pat Murphy said the Brewers will need to respond today after not being able to put anything together late in yesterday's game.
This team has responded in all those. Remember, the Dodgers beat the daylights out of us twice. We responded. The Yankees beat the daylights out of us twice. We responded. I think we'll respond.
First pitch is after 6:30 p.m. If the Brewers win, they'll play a decisive Game 3 tomorrow evening. The Green Bay Packers will try to bounce back this week as they play the LA Rams on Sunday after losing last weekend to the Minnesota Vikings. Kickoff this Sunday against the Rams is after 3 p.m. on Sunday. The Milwaukee Bucks announced their 2024 training camp roster on Monday. Camp begins tomorrow for the Bucks. Filling in for Mike Clemens, I'm Jimmy Kuska with Civic Media Sports.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
Mostly sunny today. We'll get to around 71 for a high this afternoon, and it will be a bit breezy at times. Wind southwest 10 to 20, gusting to 25. Tonight, clear, breezy, 48. Tomorrow, sunshine, 74. On Friday, mostly sunny with a high of 69. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Currently, it's 42.
Pete Schwaba.
On the next Nightlight, I welcome the legendary comedy team Stephen Leo, writers of the Santa Claus, Space Jam, and Kicking and Screaming. And Abby Novak joins the show to talk Appleton's Shop, Sip, and Stroll.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 till 8.
You're listening.
Coming to Northeast Wisconsin live from the Civic Media Studios and featuring TV and radio broadcast veteran John Maino, along with the City of Green Bay's longest-serving mayor, Jim Schmidt. This is Maino and the Mayor.
Begin the day with a friendly voice, a companion unobtrusive.
And here are your hosts, John Maino and Jim Schmidt.
Hey, thank you very much. Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Maino and the Mayor. Brisk Wednesday morning, 41 in Green Bay, 45 in Appleton, 47 in Oshkosh. For everybody listening to 98.3 FM WISS, and of course in the Civic Media app. We still get an award to give out today. Your sister's not eligible. For the person listening the furthest away on the Civic Media app. They're getting a couple of t-shirts.
Why isn't she eligible?
That's a radio thing. No family members are ever eligible to win a prize. Right, Todd?
That's correct. All of our prizes are that way.
And I changed the rules? Okay, go ahead.
No, you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, let's call Sage at home and see what
Yeah.
Jim.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Get the look you want for your home with customizable windows and doors from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. The durability of materials gets tested. They open and close the doors, latches, and shades tens of thousands of times to ensure they last for years to come. Pella offers custom colors and innovative features like shades between the glass. That's cool.
That
Those
is
are cool.
And you don't have to dust them.
That's really cool. Right now, get 0 interest up to 36 months. Certain restrictions apply. Ends October 31st. Get started today at PellaWI.com. Joining us right now, Selena Darrow, Rooted in Incorporated. And I think this is something, I'm just going to read your mission statement, okay? To strengthen the health and wellness of the greater Green Bay community by fighting food insecurity and mitigating food waste. Vision, improving local food access from seed to table. Values, we take action by forming strategic partnerships that combine resources, knowledge, and expertise to develop our regional food system while providing a sense of belonging with a cohesive group of change makers. Local food access. We believe local food access is essential for communities to thrive, ensuring that everyone has access to fresh and healthy food options that improve community health and reduce environmental impact. Education. We provide knowledge and skills to ensure a sustainable future, as education is the most powerful tool for personal and social development. Equality. We treat everybody with respect regardless of gender, race, religion, age, sexuality, or political views by valuing diversity and inclusivity, which fosters equal opportunities for all.
There. Thanks for coming in. And
Thanks so much for having me.
Johnny
hey, Todd,
went
this
through
happens a lot. We have a guest walk in, and they go, do you remember me? And Jim, oh, yeah, it's just, we went to Atlanta together.
Oh, my gosh.
You were saying, Selena, that was 10 years ago
It
that
was.
we went down to Atlanta because we were advocates for a very similar program that you're talking about, the Whole Food Desert. It was Live 54218, 5
Correct.
servings. That healthy zip code in the United States is what we wanted. And the 5-4-2-1, I don't get, but 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, and the one was 1 hour of screen time, 8 hours of sleep. But it was kind of a healthy zip code. And the thing that we talked about, this food desert, is when it's easier to find an orange soda than an orange, you got problems.
Exactly.
And how are things going? That was 10 years ago we went down to Atlanta to really go to a conference, a U.S. conference. It was a good conference we went to.
Yes, it was.
And how are things here?
Well, unfortunately, we're still struggling with the same issues, and it's actually worse than it was 10 years ago.
Wow. Why?
Well, I guess the part of the problem is that our diet is so focused on ultra-processed foods, and I learned that quite frankly through working in the food manufacturing industry, and I completely changed my diet working in this industry because I was seeing that the industry in general has been created to addict us to food, not cigarettes. Cigarette companies bought up food manufacturing companies in the early 80s. And now the next generation is addicted to ultra-processed foods. And so, after the pandemic, I built service into my business model for my consulting company, Culinary Innovations. And last year, I started volunteering for another nonprofit and got to a point where there was like a devil and angel on my shoulders, and just felt driven that if I started my own nonprofit, what if in a year? What could I do given my lived experience in the food industry? And I was a single mom for 20 years.
Wow.
So I struggled in poverty, the root cause, basically, of food insecurity. So I was on WIC and EBT and Badger Care and, struggled. And for 20 years, it took me, that much time to get out of poverty. But now I feel like I just have so much skills and so much knowledge and culinary, rooted in on teaching people how to cook again, and giving them the tools.
All right. That sounds great, but that's not eureka. I mean, right?
Correct.
I think we know that natural foods are maybe better than processed foods.
Right.
I mean, you've studied it like no one else, but what is it going to take? I mean, is it do we find these companies that a Big Mac and then we don't tax the companies that serve a salad? I mean, how's this going to finally make a change? Because we're talking about it, and I agree with everything you've said.
Yeah, so there's a groundswell. Last week, Senator Ron Johnson held an American Roundtable on nutrition. It was a 4-hour seminar, and I'm only about 3 hours into it. But really, the solutions are here. Our government needs to make major changes. We need to start focusing on local foods, making it more affordable for people to buy local foods. Our farmers are struggling. There are 2 and 3 jobs to make it, but they believe in what they're doing. And about a year and a half ago, I just started going to the farmers markets and talking to vendors and artisans who are trying to make their living. And they have amazing stories. And I just felt so inspired by that I started getting their products and creating local recipes. And my dream for 10 years now has been to create a local recipe database. And I'm thrilled to say we have one on our website on Rooted In, because the change has to start with the individual. I think doctors just want to prescribe a diet for everyone, but truly wellness is an individual thing. And so we have, ultra local, we understand how important it is, one side of the spectrum. And then we have the other side that is heavily eats ultra processed foods because they don't know any differently. But I believe what is in the middle, what is wellness and nourishment for all.
I got to say one thing, though, about you said about the cigarette manufacturers. Okay, I never had I don't care if you have the Marlboro Man or whomever. I never had an urge to smoke for whatever reason, okay? But, and Jim and I talk about this, some of the most talented people you'll find will do a commercial for a cheeseburger and make that cheeseburger look so good, it's incredible, where you physically, your mouth waters, and everybody needs to eat. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's almost it's a tough battle. What you said about the addiction, they're trying to get people addicted to that kind of food. It's tough because people on the inside really want that kind of food.
Well, and I will say, I mean, I went to UW Stout. I majored in hospitality and tourism management, and then I switched to food systems and technology. But I was in the School of Home Economics. My first job in the corporate world was I was a home economist for Good Humor Breyers, an ice cream company, right? But we've been convinced as a country that we don't have time to cook. We haven't been taught to cook over the last 30 years. We can just run to the grocery store and pick up whatever we need. But truly, I believe there is magic that happens around the dinner table. And it's part of Rooted In's mission to bring that magic back to this community.
Cool.
Yeah, I think you're really onto something with cooking. I mean, that's a fun family event, or even have your friends over to cook. And, you know, you have your friends over for dinner, but to come and cook is a cool thing. And I really like if you can buy local. There's a whole lot of economic reasons to do that. We'll get to that later. I want to ask you, we're talking about the government's role in this. Not Ron Johnson on the federal side. What about the local municipality? What kind of things can they do for this to make sure we have healthier food? I'm glad that WIC is allowing farmers to use your card at the farmers market.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was a good move.
It was an amazing move. Well, one thing we did last year was we partnered with the Brown County Community Gardens program.
That's a good program.
And there's 13 sites around Brown County. And what I ended up doing was going and gleaning or harvesting excess produce after the gardens closed to the renters. And I got about 600 pounds all by myself.
Oh, wow.
And so what I did was bring that produce to some of the food shelters. And what I found was that the produce was still going to waste. And so for me, it was like, well, the only solution is to use that to make meals. So that was the start and the research for our Cooking for the Community program. So in February of this year, we started making individual to-go meals at our office, which is at Trinity Lutheran Church. And so far this year, we've made over 3,000 pounds or individual meals that have been donated to food pantries in Green Bay.
And as part of it's from the produce that would have gone to waste otherwise?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's awesome.
Are your meals frozen?
Yes. So we freeze
We talked
the
about
meals.
it was TV dinner day, I don't know, a month ago. We were talking about, Johnny and I remember that when we were kids. I don't know if those are as popular, but, you know, that
was a treat for us.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, people nowadays talk,
The
oh, the poor
Salisbury
kid.
steak.
Oh, yes, right. Remember I mentioned that. That was my favorite.
Mine too.
Yes.
So
Did you have a TV tray?
Yes, sir.
But the frozen foods that you're supplying, healthy, good, tasting. I mean, tell me about what you're putting together with these products.
Yeah, so through my culinary business, I'm able to get I have a ton of friends in the industry. So I work food shows for my business, and so I get, literally, we're spending no money on food. And if you would come to our office, we literally have a mini food pantry in our office now. We have 3 freezers, 2 refrigerators, there's shelves full of food because, you know, my friends have been so generous with donations. So really our only cost at this point is on the packaging. But we've compared what we're doing. So for about 17 cents a pound or one meal, compare that to a Quick Trip meal that someone may buy for $5.99. I mean, we're averaging about 17 meals for that same price.
Wow.
Okay, so in terms of moving the needle, and I'm a little disheartened, I don't know if the right word is, that things aren't better after 10 years, because I thought we were kind of leaning into that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm surprised on that too, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I just think that one of the things we talked about as a strategic plan is to really work on the youth, not so much the adults, because they may, I don't know.
Set in their ways?
Well, and I think kids really care. I think adults
They're
are
more
busy.
aware of.
Remember that guy talked about how people drive through and get 10 cheeseburgers or something at the dollar menu, and it's like, you know, that's crazy. That's not a meal.
Or like when I tried to order 6 hot dogs at the concession stand.
Go through the side door. Hey, we're going to be.
I want to stick around.
Talk to you about some other things that we can
Darrow,
do.
Rooted in Inc., improving local food access from seed to the table. Interesting stuff. Back after this.
Have no faith in Constitution. There is no bloody revolution. We are spirits in the
This is the talk of Green Bay, WGBW.
Join Lou Rugani for the Music of the Stars every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. until noon. Lou brings back the nostalgia from the golden age of radio with the music, drama, and comedy shows that made radio magic. Music of the Stars is sponsored by Lakeland Care, providing personalized support that aims to improve quality of life and maintain independence for elders and those with disabilities. It's the Music of the Stars, Sunday at 7 on 97.9 FM and 1590 AM WGBW, Talk of Green Bay.
Hey there, it's Carrie Joy with your Work Money Minute. Now, if you're leaving a job, unless it's like truly a terrible worst case scenario, it's a good practice to leave your job on the best terms possible. I mean, you never know what or who you might need later. So here are my 4 steps for leaving a job without burning a bridge. Number 1, start by talking first to your direct manager. Now, you don't have to go into great detail about why you're leaving or what you're going to do next, but a when you're leaving and some version of a why should be in there. And 2 weeks notice is the polite minimum standard for leaving a job. Step 2, email your resignation to HR and include your end date. Step 3, now if you are a manager, your direct reports should be the next folks you talk to after you and your boss have put together a plan. And finally, do the best work you can so you leave on the best terms possible. Till next time, this is Carrie Joy saying, take good care.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Congresswoman Summer Lee. The American Stability Act doesn't just address the need for raising of the wage. The second thing is that tax reform piece, shifting the burden from the folks who are working class to not just the 1%, the 0.01% of people who have seen so many benefits in this rigged system, and we have to start to unrig it.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekdays from 2 till 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app. The talk.
Hey, welcome back. Selena Darrow, rooted in say it. I always get it wrong. I'm sorry.
Rooted in.
Rooted in ink.
Rooted in ink. And what exactly does that mean?
Not like ink.
Not INK.
Right.
IN incorporated. Rooted in incorporated.
You got her, Otter.
Okay. Just during the break, talking about fascinating stuff. Jim, take and run with it.
Well, we were talking about this food insecurities, access to food, but the bigger issue might be just knowledge of food. And,
Absolutely.
And you say in the 30 years it hasn't gotten much better. We didn't learn how to cook. We don't know the whole farm-to-table concept. In defense of people, they've been very, very busy. I mean, people are working 2 jobs. People, kids in soccer. There's 80 extracurricular activities that you can choose your kid to go in now. When Johnny and I were in school, like 5.
2. Little League and
I'm talking about there was band. And,
but under that there was.
But there's just so many things, and I think people have just lost that. And it's convenient to go to fast food,
right?
And that's why nobody would open up a restaurant without a drive-through. Most people. You're going to change that dynamic. And tell us about this whole educational access that you're thinking about.
And your plans.
Yeah. So about 6 months ago, I was asked, what is the big dream? And I said, a building. And I actually kind of scared myself because I'd started this nonprofit over a year ago and had a mission statement, but hadn't really connected with the passion that I felt. Always been very, very concerned about food insecurity in our community. Ran the test kitchen at Bird's Eye Foods, so we partnered with the new community shelter. We had adopted Fort Howard School as our snack buddy.
Yeah.
So I had kind of lost that connection, but now I know what the big dream is, and the big dream is to create the Rooted In Community Culinary Center. And so our center will be unlike any food pantry in Green Bay. We will not stock ultra-processed foods in our food pantry, and we will teach people how to cook again. I'm calling it the Chef's Table Dining Room, and we will work with groups of people to come in and teach them how to cook again, how to use knives, how to set themselves up for success, and to teach them recipes that meet their wellness needs.
I think that's great, and that's for everybody.
Everybody.
I work at the new community shelter. On Tuesdays, we have a cooking class, but it's for our residents, right? We have 118 people that live there, and they're there either from 2 months to 2 years, I guess. But it's amazing what they don't know, and you've got to really be Just you got to start pretty basic with some
Exactly.
people. But if you're willing to do that, you can really build. And it's amazing what you can make out of 5 or 6 products. You
That's
look at these
right.
recipes. There's ingredients aren't like 18, like
Right.
except Indian food. But if you just have a very basic, it's amazing what you can do. And then eventually we're going to take them shopping.
Right.
Because people, I don't know, kids haven't shopped with their parents. Didn't you always get dragged along with your parents grocery shopping?
It was
Loved
great.
it. Yeah.
Oh,
Who
God, I
didn't?
loved it. But Johnny and I do, we kind of a pinky swear. We stay on the perimeter of the store.
That's right.
We're pretty good about that. But there's so much to learn. And tell me, what's the process on this and the progress, and how can we help?
It almost goes back to the real old, we might want to call it a corny statement, but, give somebody a fish and they'll eat for a day.
Yeah.
Teach them how to fish and they'll
That's right.
eat for life.
That's right. And I say that all the time. Like, part of our mission for Rooted In is that we do things that are sustainable. So as the executive director, I'm always checking myself against our mission, our vision, and our values. So our programs and projects, do they support long-term solutions? And I truly believe that this community culinary center is a solution. Quite honestly, I've read so much about the problem across our country, and I want to change it here in our community and make us well again.
That's incredible. That's wonderful.
Besides teaching people how to cook and how to buy right and, this versus that, yet it's the same taste. This meal planning is something I think people, again, I'm not making excuses, but I'm defending people a little bit. People are so busy they don't meal plan like our parents did.
Right. And it's...
Well, our moms didn't work.
Right.
So they did
Let's
have...
be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, part of it too is like I'm a busy
I
lady.
wouldn't say that to my mom.
I don't mean that came out wrong.
She's listening.
Not that they don't work, but they didn't have a job outside the house.
Right.
Most.
Okay,
That's all I'm
that's
saying.
true.
They
They
worked their butts off.
Yeah, they did.
Yes.
Okay. But they did meal plan, and I think they were...
Okay, I got a text here from Sarah. Spams on the perimeter of the grocery store? I'm kind of a spam fanatic.
Oh.
I know, right? That will not be
Thanks,
in your...
Sarah.
Okay, but like Johnny said, tell us about what you're going to be doing, when you're going to roll this thing out, how we can help you.
Yeah, so I actually just have seated a new board of directors. So we are orientating our new board this weekend. And so our long-term plan is to start fundraising to build this facility. In the meantime, we're a new nonprofit organization. No one gives you a playbook when you start a nonprofit. I still have 2 other jobs to support this, but I'm 1,000% invested in this, and we need the support of our community. I'm thrilled to have Andrea Warner as our president. She's a chief population health officer at Amplify, and so it's important to me to build strong partnerships across our community so that we can all work together. This facility isn't just going to be a Rooted In facility. It will be a collaboration between other social service agencies because let's be honest, the root problem here is poverty. Homelessness, lack of education, they're not in silos. Handing someone a bag of food is just a Band-Aid. What we have to do, like you said, John, is teach people how to fish and give them that power back.
I think that power will be so wonderful for them. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Versus, I love the food pantries around here. They do a wonderful service. But for somebody to have the knowledge and the backing and the support that you would give them, I think is cool. I think a lot of people would jump at that chance.
Well, and just think about what happens around a table. Like in doing my research, I researched the Brown County CHIP, and social cohesion is a focus for health in our community.
Oh, totally.
And think about what happened during COVID.
Yeah.
We were all isolated.
Right.
And so, like, I'm an outgoing, I get my energy by being around people. And I just saw such a dramatic shift in my personality after now like a year and a half after COVID. Like, I'm alive again. I'm feeling energized. And that type of feeling, you can't put words to that when you're sitting around a table, especially with children and families. Like I said, it's the magic that happens.
That's awesome. I love what you're doing. There's a lot in that, but it's going to be a piece of time, and it's not that difficult to get there. But somebody's got to lead it, and that's you.
I think it's
Hey, do you got a
phenomenal.
website or something we can jump on?
Rooted In Inc. RootedInInc.org. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Instagram.
Okay.
We are launching a new website in about a month from now. Thanks so much for having me.
Keep
It's
us
been
posted.
amazing.
This is important
Absolutely.
stuff.
I think this is fantastic.
Yeah,
Love your energy and your enthusiasm for something like this. That's what you have to have to
That's
begin
right.
with.
Right.
Congratulations.
Thank
Please
you.
stay in touch, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit of what's going on with the mortgage rates in the Moving with the Malcourse segment. Back after this.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Todd Allball Show.
This is your hometown radio, refreshed, keeping you informed, entertained, and connected locally across the Civic Media Network.
The National Pork Board's Consumer Connect segmentation study revealed research-backed insights on how to become more relatable to current and future pork consumers. I'm Charity Seebecker for the Midwest Farm Report, and David Newman, Senior Vice President of Market Growth for the National Pork Board, says one thing the segments have in common is an appreciation of pork's taste and flavor.
With our consumer segmentation study and the research we've done around the future consumers of pork, what we know about pork consumers is that taste and flavor is crucial to them across all segments, as well as balance, so human nutrition, and then also convenience. And the idea is that using this approach around taste and flavor will drive them even further into the category and introduce them to an expansion of fresh cuts as well.
That's David Newman, Senior Vice President of Market Growth for National Pork Board. I'll have a look at your morning markets right after this.
Pioneer brand Z Series soybeans have farmers yielding out an additional 2.7 bushels per acre over A Series. This has everyone talking, not just farmers. Case in point, a trucking company wrote, "Morning, noon, and night, it doesn't matter. I'm hauling Z Series. The phone doesn't stop ringing. Even my home number, it never stops ringing." Well, it's fair to say Pioneer brand Z Series soybeans are making quite an impact. Unleash your greatest harvest yet at pioneer.com/new era.
Football players are equipped with standard equipment, helmet, shoulder pads, and cleats. What if the entire front line was issued Bobcat equipment from Bobcat Plus? Not only would the game be more interesting, the added Bobcat attachments would make cleanup and turf grooming so much easier for the groundskeeper.
Visit Bobcat Plus in De Pere and BobcatPlus.com. Bobcat, one tough animal.
I'm Charity Seebecker for the Midwest Farm Report with a look at your Wednesday morning markets. December corn is trading at $4.32 1/4. That is up 3 1/4 cents. November soybeans are trading at $10.61 3/4. That is up 4 1/2 cents. And December wheat is trading at $6.02 1/2, and that is up 3 1/2 cents. On the dairy side of things now, November Class 3 milk contract is trading at $22.57 a hundredweight. That is down 4 cents. And December Class 3 milk contract is trading at $21.47 a hundredweight, and that is also down 4 cents. Barrel cheese closed at $2.14 1/2. That was down 1/4. 40-pound block cheese closed at $2.08. That was down 4 cents. And the double A butter closed down 5 1/2 cents and closed at $2.75. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Charity Seebecker.
You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
Mostly sunny today. We'll get to around 71 for a high this afternoon, and it will be a bit breezy at times. Wind southwest 10 to 20, gusting to 25. Tonight, clear, breezy, 48. Tomorrow, sunshine, 74. On Friday, mostly sunny with a high of 69. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside now, it's 40.
The kick is up and wide left.
Why don't they customize the goalposts? Make them wider.
Gina Della from Pella, how'd you get into the booth?
And why just yellow? Add some green stripes.
Sure, Gina. Should they also remove the G at midfield and paint a Pella crest?
Okay, Wayne, you can't customize a football game to go the way you want, but Pella can customize your home the way you want.
Right now, get 0% interest for up to 36 months. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 10/31/2024.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Congresswoman Summer Lee. The American Stability Act doesn't just address the need for raising of the wage. The second thing is that tax reform piece, shifting the burden from the folks who are working class to not just the 1%, the 0.01% of people who have seen so many benefits in this rigged system, and we have to start to unrig it.
The Maggie Dawn Show, weekdays from 2 till 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app. Maino and the Mayor in the morning, and the talk of Green Bay all day long. 1590 AM and 97. Take Maino and the Mayor with you anywhere. Download the Civic Media app today from the Apple Store or Google Play Store. And text the studio directly, all from the Civic Media app. Download it today. Now, once again, here's Maino and the Mayor, John Maino and Jim Schmidt.
Hey, welcome back. Maino and the Mayor. Hey, that was really interesting.
Yes.
She was great. I think they've got a great point person for that organization. I think it's something that sounds really cool.
Jim, we had a lady on before you. We're going to talk housing, which is very, very important. She was more into the food insecurities of our community and just the whole education. And in defense of people are busy and they just don't spend the time to really lean into certain issues.
Right.
And she talked a lot about food insecurities and what we can do and how, not easy, but a path to being healthier, planning meals, buying right. And you, young man,
Jim Sheedlow, Rate Mortgage, the Moving with the Malcors segment. Where are they, in like Brazil or someplace? I mean, they're world travelers.
Right. I don't know if we're going to be out of town. I don't know where.
All right. Well, Jim, it's great to have you here. And this is one of the hot topics going in the country for the last few weeks, really. Will the Fed, move some things around? Will that affect the actual rates for, a young couple looking to get a mortgage? Just going to throw it at you. Where are we at right now?
Right. So recently we had the Fed did reduce the Fed funds rate by 0.5%, which created a stir in the market. Rates did come down. They did do an uptick slightly after that, but I think we're going to see a lot of sideways movement to the end of the year. They're going to remain pretty steady, and I think towards the end of the year, the Fed's going to probably do another rate reduction. Going into next year, I think we're going to see rates come down some more. So.
Everybody was talking about, will the election influence the rates? Have you seen anything along those lines?
It's hard to say. I don't think so. It's more market driven.
Yeah.
Really. The election obviously plays into the market, but really it all depends on what the market does based on what's going on.
And really, the market moves the needle. I mean, we're capitalists, right? It's a free market system that we have here. Last night on the debate, I don't know if you watched that. I mean, housing obviously came up because it's like Johnny said, everybody's talking about it. But it was really the supply and demand thing that's really going to move the price of things. I mean, if there's no apples, they're crazy expensive. And if there's a gazillion apples, the price goes down.
Right.
Housing, it's just like, and we were talking about the debate last night. I don't want to spend too much time, but how are we going to, they have two different ideas. Someone wants to build on federal land and other people want to give money to help first-time buyers. And two interesting concepts. I, of course, have my own opinion. Do you think that's the ultimate answer?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the inventory is very low. New construction's way behind where it needs to be to keep up with it. I think with the lower rate environment, when that starts to happen, a lot of people have been sitting on their houses because they have a real low rate right now, might decide to start moving on, putting their house on the market, which may increase the inventory that's out there for people to buy.
Are we at the point now with the interest rates ticking down of refinancing? You seen that?
Yes. You figure over the last 24 months, let's say, the rates have been at a higher point, which people purchased in that rate market. So now we've come down substantially. You figure rates are in the upper sevens, even in some cases eights. Now your rates are in the low sixes, upper fives, depending on loan programs.
Yeah,
so
$300,000, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Well, what's funny, though, is that it's almost like gas prices. Like when they were up like $4.60 or something. Oh, my God. And now they're around $3, which 10 years ago would have seemed so high.
Right.
It's almost like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's kind of like how you perceive it versus what it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
But, and I don't know what's fair, what a good interest rate is, but again, someone who's been in this game for, 30 years, 5, 6 sounds fair to me, but I don't know. I mean, the bank's got to make money, right?
Yes, yeah. So I mean, obviously there's margins and that stuff that are factored in. You know, the rates that we give out to the clients, well, whatever's baked in up above, you know, to determine the rates. Across the board, when you're looking from one bank to another bank or lender to lender, you know, all rates are very similar, you know, across the board. You might have a slight difference from one lender to another.
But you got to look at the closing costs.
Exactly.
Fees. That's tough. They kind of ding you on that kind of hard. I don't care for that.
Yeah, one thing I always tell clients to watch out for, you know, because they'll get this rate quote of whatever
We're going there. Well, here, bring a check for $2,200.
Right. And I explained to them, like, oh, you got to be paying for that. And I tell them to get an loan estimate based on cost and everything. And of course, that's what it is. They're paying for the rate.
Right.
In an environment where the rates are trending downward, I don't advise paying for a rate because there's a good possibility that rate's going to show up eventually.
So you're talking points?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So buying down the mortgage or buying down the rate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So rate mortgage, you have just, as we talked about, just a plethora of products.
Yes.
And
yes.
I forgot how many you have, but
it's a lot. I couldn't tell you offhand. It's a
right.
lot. Yeah.
And so someone could call you. We're thinking of buying a house. Is that where it starts with you, or tell me? Because I know the Melcors can find you the property. They're good at that.
Right. So I've been in the lending world for 22, 23 years roughly. So I've built up my own book of business, referrals. Built a relationship with referral partners.
It's the only way you can really do it.
Right, exactly. So that's where it starts. You know, you might get that referral from a realtor or a past client, you know, so a first-time home buyer looking to buy. They come in, I sit down with them, we discuss their budget and get them all squared away. And then, of course, pass them on to the realtor.
Right. And that's such an important step, and that's like what dads used to do. I mean, really back in the day, or schools really don't teach as much about finance as they should. But what a great stop that is, because you don't want to get in over your head. And like I said, I like 15-year mortgages, but 30. Everybody says, well, take out a 30-year mortgage. The payment's less, but then just make one or two extra payments. Americans aren't really good at that. We're really really good at
sounds good.
Right.
We're really good at forced payments.
Yeah.
It's
the American way. Put yourself in debt. So that's
yeah. It's fun to be out.
How do you think things are going to play out over the next few years? Because we're still in a little bit of a post-COVID era, aren't we?
Yes.
Is that going to go away and get back to whatever we want to call as normal for 5 years ago or something like that? Or was that impact so strong that's residually going to carry on for a while?
I think it was real strong. I think it's going to carry on for a while.
Okay.
It's my opinion. Things that changed. I mean, COVID really changed how a lot of people do business tremendously. You know, in the lending world, real estate world,
the construction world.
Exactly.
And that's one thing when we talk with Ben and Deanna, I said, well, why aren't builders building these starter homes for, $150,000 or $107,000, whatever you want? And it's like, things are so expensive. It's hard to build to those levels anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. I know it's unfortunate. A good chunk of your first-time home buyers that could afford a $150,000 house, they've been pushed out of the market.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I mean, when I'd have these I dealt with a lot of young first-time buyers. And because I got it from a young veterans that say, hey, I got a buddy who,
sure.
And they'd say, hey, we're cleared for 150, 160. And I'm like, well, we're going to look at some that are 130. It's like, oh, no, we don't want that. And I'm saying, well, the 150, 160s are going for about 190 right now.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the group that really needs some help. Those first-time buyers are the ones that really somehow need something to break through for them. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. I know. Go ahead.
I was going to say, one of the ways they can break through is, and we talked about, God bless their parents, but if they're thinking of an inheritance, give it to them now.
Right. Yeah.
Because that will help, going as a down payment. I mean, if you can get in with 25% down, you're going to get a hell of a lot better rate than
it makes
5.
a big difference.
Yeah.
I mean, then you're avoiding the private mortgage insurance, which is an expense that can add up quite a bit. So, yeah.
What advice if you had a son or daughter that was looking to buy a home for their first time? They're 24 years old. They got their job that they love, the whole thing. Want to settle here, close to mom and dad, get a nice little starter home. What advice would you give them?
Why are you smiling? Do you have that?
Yeah. Do you have that situation?
I don't have that situation. Okay. I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't have any kids. So, obviously, really discuss with them their budget. Because there's numbers on paper when a person goes to get pre-approved. On paper, they could afford this, but really, can they afford that? So when I sit down with a first-time home buyer, and let's say if it was my own kids, figure out your monthly budget. What do you spend on groceries, gas, the essentials,
the basics,
and then really determine, okay, what can I afford for a monthly payment after that? That's what your pre-approval should be based on.
And then property taxes and where you're going to be or whatever.
Exactly. Yep.
Which is a big thing.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, they've gone up. Okay, so what we talk about these first-time home buyers, but people who have been in their house for a long time, and in the old days, you used to move like every 7-8 years. Now it's longer than that because one of the reasons people are staying in their house is because of their rate.
Right.
But let's say your house is paid off or that your rate is, I don't know, close to 5. It's at 3.5. I don't know. That does make a big difference. But if your mortgage isn't that much, it's really, you're not saving that much. You know what I mean? Like if your mortgage is, I got $60,000 left to pay on my house. I mean, I don't, but that versus a $300,000 house. What does someone do if they say, look, we want to know what kind of money we can get on a house? Do they come and see you on a
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if they have a house they're planning on selling, and they have a pretty good idea. Say they already sat down with a realtor, figured out what they could sell their house for, what they're going to net after everything else is paid out. I'll sit down with them, go through their numbers, determine how much they want to put down for down payment, and then figure out their budget from there. Now, a lot of times, if I get somebody that's a second or third house and they're close to retirement, then I might even discuss with them a 15-year or shorter term, so that way they're paying it off prior to retirement, or so that way they're in a good place when they do retire.
But I thought what Jim brought up was a really valid point. Forever basically, your parents would save, and then when they pass away, Johnny gets X amount of whatever, and chances are Johnny's so old now that okay, that's nice, but it's not as critical as it would have been 20 years ago.
Right.
I think Jim has a great thing there in regards to when the folks, the parents are like, okay, we've got this money set aside for you, and when we die, you get it, and hopefully it's gonna be a long time from now. But why not let them enjoy it? Well, you can watch them enjoy it.
Exactly. Yeah.
and take some stress out of their life too.
It does. I do have a number of clients where the family already gives them their, or helps them out in down payment.
Because that can make the difference these days.
It can make the difference. Yeah. It can make the difference.
Yeah. And in terms of the building, are you seeing, you're a mortgage banker. Is that picking up again? I mean,
it is
2008, 2009, that slowed things down. Then COVID really slowed things down. It's like, kind of like a little bit we're our own worst enemy. We didn't keep up with the growth.
Right.
Can't blame them.
I know we do some stuff for the local construction company here in town, and they have quite a few projects going on right now where they're building, and it's starter homes.
Oh.
Obviously, they're still higher priced,
right?
But
but they're starter homes. Well, we would have considered our third home back in the day for the price.
Right.
Oh, that's exciting. That's good news.
Right.
That's really good news. But you're right. It just seems like that supply chain and the price of certain building materials and everything went up during COVID to a point of, wow, it's made a big impact and still does.
Right. I know during that period of time, I had a couple of construction deals going on, and when the contractor had to come back and say, hey, we need to add another 50, 60 grand to your build because of materials. And of course, it's never come back down since.
I had a guy who was a contractor and wonderful guy, and he wanted to build his own house, just totally his own contractor, whatever. And he had to kind of heading into winter, cover the whole thing in like sheets of plastic and tarps because it was going to be 6 months before he could get, trusses.
Yeah.
There was such a backlog for whatever reason on trusses, right?
Right.
And he had and it was heading into winter. It's like, holy crap, my walls are up here because I thought they were going to be here next week. And it's going to be like after the winter before they could get them. That was really an unbelievable period.
Right. It was crazy. Pretty crazy.
Wow.
Getting a little bit better now, but with rate mortgage, you see it all. And I'm glad you're honest with your clientele. I mean, you get, paid if they borrow money, but to be honest with them, because you don't want to, that's a terrible thing to lose a home. Are there still cash buyers out there?
There are. Not as prevalent as it was maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
There still is. Yeah.
But that's got to be a pretty thin slice.
It is.
Man, who's got that money sitting around?
Exactly.
You? We got to set a quick break. Jim, we're going to keep you around if that's okay.
All right.
Is that all right?
Yeah,
All right.
sounds
We'll be back
good.
more. Jim Sheedlow, Rate Mortgage, and our Moving with the Malcors. Ben Indiana Malcor. Back after this.
Mother's tired, she needs a rest. The kids are playing up downstairs. Sister's sighing in her sleep.
The Talk of Green Bay, WGBW.
Are you seeking an amazing atmosphere where you can enjoy well-executed comfort food for lunch or dinner? Maybe even a cold craft beer, signature cocktail, or glass of wine after a hard day's work? Look no further than Heights Pub and Parlor in downtown Green Bay. 3 levels of gorgeous architecture with top-notch friendly service, mouth-watering food, and a kitchen open Monday through Saturday from 11 to 9. You'll find any excuse to come back. Visit weekdays from 11 to 10 and open till 11 Fridays and Saturdays. Check us out on Facebook or online at heightsgb.com.
Progressive presents 10 things on a contractor's to-do list that are harder than getting a commercial auto insurance quote. Bidding a new client, giving an accurate estimate, finding affordable materials, getting a client to pay you for work you already did, getting a client to pay you, period, securing permits and workers and tools, getting those workers and tools to work together, and finding the perfect pair of overalls. Pockets, baby. But the easiest thing on a small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you can save on commercial auto insurance. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Covering all the news that affects you with humor and a unique perspective. Matinaire on Air with Jane Matinaire. Weekdays 10 till noon on the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 FM and 1590 AM WGBW, and on the Civic Media app.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey. We're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Fear you may be missing out? We're always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app. Enjoy listening live or catch up by finding the podcast at civicmedia.us or wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WG.
House in the middle of our street. Our house in the middle of
Good song, Todd. Hey, welcome back. We're with Jim Sheedlow, Rate Mortgage, and are moving with the Malcor segment. This is really interesting stuff because this is almost unprecedented in some ways, how you have to, for lack of better words, tiptoe through the minefield to make things work these days, trying to get a house with all the different variable things. So
exactly,
your job has to be as tough as your job has been.
I'm surprised I still have hair on my head, to be honest with you. So,
but I got to tell one quick funny story, though. Yeah. We're talking about having money for a down payment, big down payment, and I've dealt with so many young Army guys, and they're like, "Hey, Mr. Maino, I'm re-upping, I'm getting this huge bonus and the whole thing." And that's phenomenal. Boy, they put that away. Yeah, I'm paying cash for this new truck. And I said, I told Jim how frustrating that was sometimes when you want to tell these guys, man, you get a good financial person, put this much here. And what did you say?
So back when I was in the Army on deployments, we'd come back, you got hazard pay, per diem, and you didn't spend any money while you're in deployment. Right. And what did I do? Bought a brand new car. So
here I'm telling you that story. And you're like, yeah, I did the same thing.
I did the same. Yeah.
With the variety of things that you offer, this ARM where you take a little bit of a risk, is that still something that's out there that people look at?
I get, when the rates started going up at a very fast pace, that started becoming a topic of conversation. And I would discuss with clients, does it really make sense? In this environment. Now, if you know that the rates are going to start trending downward, well, then it's a good idea to look at it because you get a lower rate on the ARM products.
Right.
And then when the rates do come down, then put it back into a fixed 15, 20, or 30 year.
So it's timing almost.
Exactly.
Oh, that's risky.
It's so risky. And I usually, I can't remember the last ARM product I did for a client. It's been a while.
It's literally like rolling the dice and betting on what comes up.
I go to we bet on the Packer games and NFL, but that's $10-$20. I'm not going to bet $300,000 mortgage.
No, exactly.
That's a little too much.
It's too much. Yeah.
you talked about the programs that you have, and I think if someone wants to see you, Jim, at Rate Mortgage, you have programs for veterans. Tell me some of the things that you offer there.
So I'm a veteran myself. Obviously, that was already kind of mentioned, but I do a lot of VA loans for veterans. And of course, I really like to work with first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
I mean, sitting down with them,
absolutely,
guiding them through the process, help them navigate, understand why they should do certain things, and really building that excitement for them through the process.
No question.
And of course, when they close, it's the best feeling.
That literally drove me out of the business in a certain way, because I dealt with so many clients like that, the young veterans and everything, and they'd be so excited, and we put in an offer and wouldn't get it. I think when I left, I was like 14 in a row that got turned down because there's like 18 offers. The worst feeling in the world is calling them, and the wife answers, "Hello," because they know you. "Hi, John."
Right.
And it's like, "Hey, we didn't get it."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That just breaks your heart when they're so excited. There's nothing more exciting than getting your first home.
Yeah, exactly.
Quick question for you, though. You mentioned VA loans. Have they lightened up a little bit? Because I had a few, and there'd be a cracked window in a pane in the garage. It would red flag. Or peeling paint on a window frame, red flag.
That hasn't changed.
That hasn't changed. I was hoping you'd say, "Oh yeah, they've lightened up."
That's
yesterday. And what I try to do is in those situations is work with the realtor that's working with the buyer and make sure that if they have a property they're really interested in, let's discuss it. Make sure that is there peeling paint? Is there this or that? So that way they're not going into it, and because nowadays sellers aren't really willing to fix those things before.
No, they don't have to.
No,
somebody else will buy it as is.
Exactly. So
what I like, I just really met you today. You're a super nice guy. It's nice that you give advice and say, look, I know, don't buy too much house, because you never know. Some people can lose their job, one of you, and then what happens?
Right.
That you want to base it on one income, that would be really difficult. But, maybe you're one house away from this house. Let's find something a little bit different. You know what I mean? I remember the first house I wanted, my dad's like, I don't think so.
Right.
That's I wanted a circular drive. He's like,
and a pony out front.
I remember him saying that. He goes,
"I need a corral."
And I think he wanted to be nice to me. He goes, "Look, you're one house away from that." I was probably like 4 houses away from that. But it was just nice. He said, no, you got to look at something different. And I was obviously
and it's one of those things I discussed too.
That's great.
Get the experience under your belt of home ownership.
Oh man,
you don't have to have the best of the best at the beginning,
right?
And then once you get that 5 to 10 years in under the belt with that house, now you got some experience, and obviously life changes, so that way you can afford more. So,
right. It's interesting, home ownership. I mean, I live in an older neighborhood, and people are like, "Oh, it'd be great to live in this neighborhood." They're money pits. I mean, they just are. And to get home ownership and understand that, besides we talked about property taxes, renters don't pay taxes. Well, yeah, they do. It's just, it's built into their rent. But start, and there's more maintenance on homes than I think people think.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, another thing, though, too, one last quick thing. We were talking about the young home buyers, but what about these older people that, or shouldn't even say older, but, the ones that it's like their next step would be that real cool house, They're holding off, aren't they?
They are holding off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing more and more people in that age range that they're, say, on their third house.
Okay.
And they just want to move.
Okay.
And of course, they have a lot more equity available with the market the way it is.
Right.
And they're taking that money and putting it into the new house.
Okay.
So.
But are the young kids ever going to get that? Do you see any sign? Because I hate with these kids paying $1,200 a month for rent.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Not yet,
changing,
huh?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just not building equity,
Right.
And again, I don't know that they're paying $12 for rent and then putting $400 in their savings account. It's just hard to do in this country.
It is
there's
very
just
hard.
so many things you can buy.
I'm with the food and the whatever, and
toys. So
Jim,
this is great what you're doing, Jim. You're a good guy.
Really interesting stuff. I like how you present it in a real conversational manner versus, So I would definitely recommend somebody come and see at Rate Mortgage, moving with the Malacors. Jim Sheedlow, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for your service to our country.
Yeah.
How many years were you in?
11 with the National Guard. So I had Army and then National Guard afterwards, so 11 total.
Which National Guard unit?
I was with the 107th Engineer Unit up in Upper Michigan.
Out of where? Escanaba?
Gladstone.
Gladstone? Well, same thing, huh?
Yeah, same thing, pretty much. Happy Rock.
Nagani killed Gladstone the other night, like 38-7. Just so you know. Just so you know.
Right.
All right. Just throwing it out there. All right, Jim, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you very much for letting me.
Quick break.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW. Dom Selvia.
Next time, Matt Rothschild will join me in studio. We'll review the VP debate, and we'll talk about the Middle Eastern conflict.
The Dom Selvia Show, weekdays 4 till 6.
Max Inc. on Civic Media with Mike and Wendy from Sunspot.
Can you imagine the mosh pit on the bridge that could happen?
Oh,
well, that's how the original series was when they moved the camera. Whenever it's like the red alert, right?
Yeah,
that was the mosh pit.
Yeah. And everybody had to like fake like
right.
Lean left,
lean right. Yeah. Join us for all the fun with Max Inc. on Saturday nights, 6 to midnight, across the Civic Media Radio Network and on the Civic Media app.
Enjoying this local program? Find the complete Civic Media lineup at civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app. You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW 1590 AM Denmark, W250 CV Green Bay, and always streaming on the Civic Media app.
This is a special report from ABC News. Vice Presidential Debate. I'm Sherry Preston. Discussions about immigration and how it's affected the community of Springfield, Ohio at last night's one-on-one Vice Presidential Debate. This is Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, running mate of Donald Trump.
You have got housing that is totally unaffordable because we brought in millions of illegal immigrants to compete with Americans for scarce homes. The people that I'm most worried about in Springfield, Ohio are the American citizens.
Trump, of course, was the one who falsely spread the story about immigrants eating pets in the city. Walz, running mate of Kamala Harris, noting
that vilified a large number of people who were here legally in the community of Springfield.
And he talked about the bomb threats in the town that followed.
And the consequences in Springfield were the governor had to send state law enforcement to escort kindergartners to school.
Vance travels to the battleground state of Michigan today. Walz will be in the all-important battleground of Pennsylvania. This is ABC News.
I'm Lisa Hale with WGBW News. Your news in depth. Find it in the news section at WGBW.FM.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. A task force from Wisconsin is helping with Hurricane Helene relief. Members of Wisconsin Task Force 1 have specialized training and capabilities which can deploy in Wisconsin and beyond. 16 members of the Swiftwater Rescue Team left over the weekend to help with search efforts in North Carolina. They come from 8 fire departments from across the state. Donald Trump blaming the Biden-Harris administration for high prices at a campaign stop yesterday in Waunakee.
People that were saving a lot of money are now losing a lot of money. They're taking the money they saved and they're spending it. So we're going to get those prices down.
For her part, Kamala Harris says she wants to take on price gouging. She campaigns in the Fox Valley tomorrow. I'm Terry Bell, and this is Civic Media News. Now, here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. The vice presidential debate between Tim Walz and J.D. Vance brought several dozen people to the Outagamie County Democratic headquarters last night for a watch party. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul spoke before the debate.
We are 5 weeks away from what I believe is the most important election in any of our lifetimes.
In the meantime, presidential candidate...
I'll need a Pella testimonial here.
College. We Energies and Wisconsin Public Service, or WPS, customers can make their voices heard in rate cases that will set utility prices for 2025 and 2026. According to the Citizens Utility Board, We Energy seeks a total increase of about 19% for a typical customer. WPS seeks increases of about 20%. You can submit a public comment online between now and October 7th by visiting psc.wi.gov. And that's what you need to know. I'm Lisa Hale, WGBW News.
The Brewers face elimination tonight. Hi, I'm Jimmy Kuska with sports, filling in for Mike Clemens. The Brewers will play the Mets today in Game 2 of the best-of-3 wildcard round. Yesterday, the Mets defeated the Brewers 8-4, retiring the final 17 batters to take the win. Willie Adames says the Brewers know it's all on the line tonight.
We are undaunted. We're going to come out and give the 100% out there on the field, and and we got to win or we go home. So the mentality is we got to win no matter what. We got to figure out a way to win and, do our best.
First pitch is after 6:30 p.m. If the Brewers win, they'll play a decisive Game 3 tomorrow evening. The Green Bay Packers will try to bounce back this week as they play the LA Rams on Sunday after losing last weekend to the Minnesota Vikings. Kickoff this Sunday against the Rams is after 3 p.m. on Sunday. The Milwaukee Bucks announced their 2024 training camp roster on Monday. Camp begins tomorrow for the Bucks. Filling in for Mike Clemens, I'm Jimmy Kuska with Civic Media Sports.
This is your local Civic Media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
Mostly sunny today. We'll get to around 71 for a high this afternoon, and it will be a bit breezy at times. Wind southwest 10 to 20, gusting to 25. Tonight, clear, breezy, 48. Tomorrow, sunshine, 74. On Friday, mostly sunny with a high of 69. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 39.
Have you outgrown your health insurance plan? The number one reason we all change our health insurance is price. Are you paying too much for your health insurance? Would you like to have better coverage at a better rate? Take a few minutes right now and find out if you can save money or even qualify for zero-cost health insurance in your state. Call now.
800-693-9308. 800-693-9308. That's 800-693-9308.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Maggie Dawn.
Join us next. I have got a very special guest to celebrate the Brewers postseason. You're not going to want to miss it.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekday afternoons from 2 till 4.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay.
Coming to Northeast Wisconsin live from the Civic Media Studios and featuring TV and radio broadcast veteran John Maino, along with the City of Green Bay's longest-serving mayor, Jim Schmidt. This is Maino and the Mayor. And here are your hosts, John Maino and Jim Schmidt.
Hey, thanks very much. Welcome back. Maino the Mayor here on a beautiful Wednesday morning. 40 degrees in Green Bay, 45 in Alton, 47 in Oshkosh. Special thanks to Jim Sheedlow, Rate Mortgage. Really interesting stuff in our Moving with the Malcors. And it's a hot commodity right now, talking about mortgage rates and everything. Selena Darrow earlier, Rooted in Ink, which is a fascinating story. We want to follow that one. And we got another fascinating story. And we always talk to Jim about some of the reasons why Green Bay is considered, greater Green Bay and the whole area, Fox Valley. There's so many people that go into businesses that really are going in for one reason: passion to serve people, passion to help people make this a better place, and that's what makes this area a better place. And none brings that into focus more than Jennifer Bourget here with Counting the Stars Cafe, and they've got a casino night coming up. But I just want to read one thing we read with Selena's mission statement. I love this. At Counting Stars Cafe, our children are learning valuable skills such as money management, customer service, inventory tracking, and teamwork. They're not just making coffee and baked goods. They're also gaining confidence and communicating with people, our wonderful community members and people. It's a nonprofit agency that provides services for children with disabilities and their families in all of Brown County. The proceeds from Counting Stars Cafe will directly benefit our children's educational experiences, increase community-based opportunities, raising funds for extra field trips, classroom materials, enriching experiences that will enhance their learning journey and broaden their horizon, in addition to supporting our children's growth. I think that is very cool.
Yeah, Jennifer, this is great. Checks a lot of boxes. And would you come up with this? And look, I get the disabilities, working, learning how to make coffee, customer service. As I've said many, many times, I think everyone should be a waiter, waitress, or run for office, or both, because you really learn
service.
Yeah.
And how people maybe not always as nice as they could be or should be, and you can learn from that. Where'd you come up with this concept? This is great what you're doing.
So I have 20 years in special education in the school systems, and I've decided to start this agency to provide more of that wraparound support for our families and our children. And the coffee shop just makes sense. It's something that's easy for our kids to participate in. We're doing baking twice a week for the cafe. So then our cafe is open Tuesdays and Fridays from 4 to 5:30. And then we are there 2 Saturdays a month from 8 to 10 or so. And so our kiddos need to learn how to cook and how to be independent with measuring and recipes and trying out different foods. A lot of them have, food aversity or don't want to try new things, but they love all of our baking.
That's
They're
phenomenal.
always begging for the treats.
And I like the look. And there's so much to learn in what you're teaching, but just the whole financial thing that sales aren't profits. I mean, there's expenses, and
yes,
what are
absolutely.
expenses? I mean, I teach a college class, and what are the expenses that sometimes they forget, like themselves, like there's labor costs and insurance.
And we can't eat all of our profit, right? I tell the kids, if you eat it all, we can't sell it to make money to help us, buy our ingredients. And
Yes.
all of our products are gluten-free or gluten-friendly, so that's more expensive. So we're trying to be allergen-friendly and, take those things into consideration. Some of our kids are also gluten-free. I would say right now we're spending about $100 a week just in our supplies and materials to keep the cafe going. We are donation based, so we do have a menu with recommended donations. But of course, people have been so generous; they'll give us a 20 and keep the change.
I learned about that profit thing working at my brother's gas station when he'd come in after my shift, and he'd see about 14 payday candy bar wrappers in garbage. He goes, "Do you understand profit? Do you understand that's that comes out of the?"
And we tell.
I just assumed they were all free, and we could eat as many as I wanted.
and tell people who are in the hospitality, you sit behind the bar drinking up the profits. We just can't do that. We've got to sell that stuff. And I don't think people they need to understand that. And that, we say, the last candy bar could be your profit. You know what I mean? So why would you eat the profit of the company?
Yep.
It gets
or they all want hot chocolate, or they all want, all of our kids.
Well,
are like, what do I get for working today? And it's like, and that's fair. We get paid
30% off. But that's up to you. You can get an employee discount. But then, I had a restaurant one time, and I'm going through, and I'm gone. I come back through, and everybody who ate here was an employee? They're just giving it to all their friends. I'm like, can't do that. You got to be working here. Say, this education for these kids, the clientele, can anyone go to your place, or tell me how I can get like son or daughter?
Yeah, so we right now are supporting 5-year-olds through 17-year-olds. We offer a whole variety of skills or services.
You have 5-year-olds working for you, basically?
So we do have a couple. We have
that's great.
Yeah, so we have a couple 5-year-olds that are down in the cafe.
Love it.
They're not working with the hot coffee, but they're working on their communication skills. And
that's super. That's
great. We had our first week. Our kids were like, "Well, what do you want?" And by day 2 or 3, they're welcome to Counting Stars Cafe. Awesome. How can I help you? So the amount of just communication that they've learned. We have one girl who uses an eye gaze device, and her parents programmed all of these sayings in there for her so she can use her eyes to communicate. Like she clicks a button with her eyes and it'll say, "Welcome to Counting Stars Cafe." And then
how cool is that for you to have her involved?
Yeah, absolutely. And she just lights up the room. So our kids are true inspirations. And we do, we have 5-year-olds up to 17, and we're taking the whole range of disabilities or labels. So autism all the way through ADHD, anxiety, kiddos with Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. So we don't shy away from any kiddos other than like severe behaviors. We just don't have the space right now. And so some of this fundraising will also help us start looking at a new building, and we need room to grow. So we've grown exponentially faster than I ever thought we could. And
sounds like there's a need for this, though. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're just right now in Brown County, and I'm getting emails and calls from people in 5-6 surrounding counties to come and help them with IEP advocacy, the daily living skills in their home services. So we need the space and the finances to be able to expand to impact more families, for sure.
And you really want to build a great model. I work at a homeless shelter in a new community, and we have people calling us, but we've been in business. We've been at this location 20 years, so we really know what we're doing. And now we can, not that we're going to franchise. One of our board members, let's charge them. Let's franchise. Well, I don't think we're going to do that. We want to help other communities, but you really want to tweak this and make sure that it's really a great thing. It sure sounds like it is. And I want to get back to the clientele. Were you amazed how many people need this, want this?
Yes and no. Coming out of the school system, I knew there was a need, and I did my homework. I met with our children's long-term care director prior and said, here are all my skill sets. Here's what I've been trained to do and what I'm comfortable offering. Where are your needs? Where are the wait lists? What are, we've gotten kids off of wait lists that have been on there 2 or 3 years. And this summer, we were open 50 hours a week for our kids, 7 to 5 every day. And that's just unheard of in our area. And so to give parents the ability to work and to get their lives in order while their kids are being taken care of and taught skills.
I just want to read this again. We're thrilled to announce an exciting new venture here at Counting Stars, the Counting Stars Cafe. The cafe will be run by the children of our community who are eager to learn and work hard. Our cafe not only serves delicious coffee and fresh baked goods, but also serves as a hand-on learning experience for our young stars. At Counting Stars Cafe, our children are learning valuable skills such as money management, customer service, inventory, and teamwork. Not just making coffee and baked goods, also gaining confidence in communicating with all of our wonderful community members. Counting Stars is a nonprofit agency that provides services for children with disabilities and their families in all of Brown County. I think that's such a wonderful thing. I get all the respect in the world for special ed teachers, and I'm serious. You guys are a special breed with the care, the patience, the concern you have for those kids. I mean, I just, it's wonderful to watch you folks work. And I've done some things at Aspiro and different places like that. And that's a special breed of people that do these things.
We really do fall in love with all of our kids and our families. We always say we're part of their village now. They're stuck with us. Not everybody has a village of support around them.
Right.
And that's what we really want to be. We don't want, we're not just teaching daily living skills 2 hours a day and then sending your kid home. Like I said, we're in the homes. We're in the community. I'm going to their IEP meetings to help push for better services, more time in school. And supporting these families who don't know the questions to ask or, how to get what their kids deserve.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I think the other thing that you're bringing that we lack, and not just with your clientele, with so many, is working together as a team. Even medical school now, when of course, I'm older than you, but the smartest kid became the doctor. Well, it's not always that way. It's people who can get along, because sometimes you get 3, 4 doctors. And where I teach, we have to do group projects, and people are like, "Oh, Mr. Schmidt, I'd like to do this by myself." It's like
coming from you, who hated group projects when you were a student, and you've told me that.
The mayor.
So go ahead. Go ahead. Preach to your people, there, Mayor.
I said it's different. I think that's a real gift that you're giving these kids on working together, because that's the real world.
And our older kids have become great mentors and friends to our younger kids. So
That's
our
awesome.
littles want to learn from their peers. Right, how to do the dishes, how to vacuum, how to, playing and socializing. They really do take the little ones under their wing, and it builds their confidence. They've created friendships, that they wouldn't have otherwise. Our kids are often bullied in school, and so now they're creating those friendships at the center. They're doing sleepovers. They're, on Snapchat with each other now. And I mean, it's created a whole different world for them where they do fit in and they do feel successful.
Anybody that would bully somebody like that, I hope there's a special place in hell for you. And I really, truly mean that. If
Well,
you
and
bully
They don't. Their parent. There's a lot more
I'm just
to it
saying.
than that.
So
I know.
it's
I would
educating
agree with you.
parents too, right? It's educating the top down for and how we treat people and how we
So what can we do to help
with
your endeavor?
There's a lot of cool things going on, and how can we help? I get the whole franchise thing, but I mean, what can we do here in Green Bay right now?
I would love for you guys to come in and have a cup of coffee. I brought you a coupon for a free bakery
I will do that.
item.
I wrote the hours down already.
We're there.
Yes, I'll be
Perfect.
there.
And
Not
then,
even a question.
November 14th, we are doing our casino night at Ledge Crest Reserve, and that's our fundraiser for the fall. It's from 5 to 9. Tickets are on sale now. You can find the link on our Facebook page, Counting Stars Incorporated. And tickets are $50 until October 15th, and then they go up to $75. So this is considered our early bird special time right now. We would love to have you guys come out and play some cards.
Would love it.
We have sponsorship opportunities for blackjack tables, roulette, Texas Hold'em, and then our Vegas VIP. That's all on our website or our Facebook page as well.
What makes you think John and I gamble?
Yeah.
No, we do.
Well, even if you don't like to gamble, come on out.
believe
It's
me.
for
No, we
a
like
good
gamble.
cause. You can win some awesome prizes. And
Tell everybody about your Facebook.
Counting Stars Inc.
Counting Stars Inc. People get all the information they pretty much need from there, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. I think what you're doing is a wonderful, wonderful thing for our kids and our community.
Thanks
Come
for
out
doing
and
it.
visit
We will
anytime.
come out. You let us know. We're there for coffee. And you know what? You don't have to give us coupons. Jim will pay.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks
This has been
so much
great.
for being here. Jennifer
Appreciate what you
Forget,
do.
Counting Stars Cafe and Casino Night. Wonderful endeavor. When we come back, we're going to start, or in a little while, we're going to start talking punk rock in Green Bay. A little bit of a difference.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just a little bit.
Big jump.
Back after this.
People shoving at the girls who try to look pretty. And if your train's on time, you can get to work by 9.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
Get your tickets today for Blues, Brews, and Barbecues on November 2nd at the Community Rec Center in Marinette, Wisconsin. 6 award-winning barbecue pitmasters go head-to-head while your taste buds get punched in the mouth. With lip-smacking barbecue, you'll listen to Blues Hall of Fame legend Joe Moss. Following Joe, blues icon Toronzo Cannon hits the stage, playing tunes from his #1 album, Shut Up and Play. VIP tickets are only $27.50 and include barbecue samples from all 6 competitors, a full beverage of your choice, VIP pit passport, and both concerts. General admission tickets are just $17.50. Learn more at fishonmarinette.com and click on the pig. That's fishonmarinette.com. Sponsored by Fincantieri Marinette Marine, the Motor Company, Anderson's Culligan, and Farmers Merchants Bank and Trust. Blues, Brews, Barbecues. Come get some.
Supported by Travel Wisconsin.
I'm proud to be voting for Kamala Harris and Tammy Baldwin.
Across Wisconsin, people are standing up for Vice President Kamala Harris and Senator Tammy Baldwin because they stand up for us, taking on the big drug companies, lowering the cost of insulin and prescription drugs. They've even cracked down on greedy corporations to put an end to price gouging and surprise medical billing, and made sure no insurance company can deny you coverage for having a pre-existing condition.
Kamala Harris and Tammy Baldwin are fighting for people like me and all of my friends and everybody else I know.
Now, extremist politicians are trying to take away our basic freedoms. But Kamala Harris and Tammy Baldwin are fighting back, protecting our freedom to choose and our right to vote.
A lot of people fought and died for these rights. My parents, my grandparents. There's too much at stake here. We have to get out and vote.
I am going to vote for Kamala Harris and Tammy Baldwin. They are fighting for me.
Paid for by Ask Me People, AskMePeople.org, which is responsible for the content of this ad, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Hey, welcome back. Maino the Mayor here. This segment brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors.
Pella Windows and Doors. We love them. And we talk about getting the look you want for your home with this customizable. I don't use that word a lot. They'll customize your windows and doors for you. I love Pella, right? And you've heard me say that before, but they do come over to your home and you take a look at it, and they have the laptop, and they show you different color doors, different style windows. And we ran an ad earlier today about Pella, about how good their products are. I think sometimes people, window's a window, a door's a door. Not true. They test the hinges thousands of times, and you get those windows, and our back door has that window with the blinds in between the glass. That's kind of cool because you don't have to dust them. And you can close them, open them. So they just got, it's what?
You know what I do with mine? Somebody's out there, and I'll quick flip them open and scare the crap out of them.
Do you have that?
too.
You got
I
that
do.
inside the windows?
On one of my doors.
Wow, that would be cool to have.
Yeah. We have it. And they have everything at Pella. And like I said, just great quality. It's all true, tested. And then I like the variety they offer. And we talked about doors, even when we had the Melkors in here 2 weeks ago, we were talking about front doors.
And I think customizable is a word.
I think it is too. I said I don't use that word a lot.
Yeah.
Customizable.
Yeah,
I think it is a
you.
word.
Okay.
I didn't say it wasn't a word. I don't use that word. I would say like
There's a lot of words you don't use.
They customize it, but customizable is I thought that was a Youper word, but then I looked it up. It is. It's legit. It's a real word. So anyway, we love Pella, and to get to the pretty easy to do. Just PellaWI.com.
There you go. And by the way, we have a winner in our listener from the furthest away.
Who's this?
This is Rick, listening in Tampa, Florida. He says, listening today, keep up the good work. It's an enjoyable show. Rick in Tampa, Florida. Rick, you win yourselves a pair of T-shirts. One from WGBW, another from WISS. Both perfect for beachwear.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Cut the sleeves off maybe, but
you pretty much wore yours all over, where were you?
Florida.
Bermuda or someplace? Or? Did you, I think you went.
Yeah, Cancun. I don't know
Cancun.
where
Yeah,
we were. Yeah, I
Cancun.
wore my shirt down
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Absolutely. I used to get a lot of those. The Maino and the Vidman shirt. People would be in like Rome or something by the Coliseum. It's like it was almost like the Where's Waldo type.
Cool
thing.
to take. Yeah, it's cool to take pictures of certain things. And
Yes.
Anyway,
It's like,
yes.
boy, we've had some interesting people on today.
Community people, right?
Tremendous.
I mean,
Good job putting this all together, Todd.
we got a lot of work to do in this committee, though, and that kind of tells you that. Just in terms of
We have people trying.
right. I was just going to get to that. I think, but we have people who are working on it, and that's important because government's not going to do it, right? We need people to step up in the private sector or in the nonprofit sector, and what they're doing with these kids with disabilities and teaching them how to make food and how to work as a team and business skills.
And the
that's
same thing with
terrific.
Selena about
Oh my
having
gosh.
adults who
I mean,
teach them to cook and do all these things instead of just.
And I think, I don't want to put blame, but we just missed a lot of that, And I, as a parent, I think I tried really hard, but my kids missed out on maintenance things, and just they're good kids. They were in school, they were working hard, but they go to class now to learn how to, find a stud in the wall. Well, really to hang pictures, paint chips, just some basic things that are taught over at Home Depot, and. They're in there, but they're in there with a whole lot of other kids too.
They've done polls. There are kids that don't know how to change light bulbs.
Oh my
Seriously.
gosh.
Seriously.
Yeah.
These are people going into college and they've never had to do it before.
Wow.
In defending those parents, I just want to say that those kids weren't sitting around playing video games. Those kids were in ballet, they were in football, they were in music, and the parents just didn't take that time like our dads did and say, look, this is how you change the oil in a car. They just never learned that.
I was reading a thing on Peyton Manning, and he was in an article. It's like when he got to college, he didn't know how to use a can opener, the kind to open a can of beans or something like that, because he just always lived in the dorms and did whatever, and his mom did everything. I mean, and he was all just focused on sports.
Yeah,
but how important is that?
Oh my God!
And like cooking, that's a basic life need to know that stuff.
At the shelter, we get people in there, and the other thing, everyone who is at new community shelter has a chore to do the day you get there. And, it's vacuuming, cleaning. And some people, you think they're making it up, but they don't know how to do some of these things. And we have to teach them how to clean, the bathroom. And once they learn, it's like, okay, and what the right stuff to use and how long, you scrub it and everything else. Well, anyway, cooking, we did a little survey, and who would like to take a cooking class? Because cooking, for one, is difficult. I don't know. I don't know. I think we could take like 6 people in the class. You guys have been to our kitchen.
Yeah.
Maybe 8. I think we had like 20-some people sign up for that. So we're going to do it more often.
I will say this. So you guys have the facility for something like that. I mean, you guys basically have a full kitchen, a professional kitchen behind the scenes, so to speak.
Well, we serve 190 people a day. Yeah.
So do you teach them?
But I mean, for a class, it's a perfect example for a class.
Okay. I would, and I could. We have someone who is in the shelter that used to be a chef.
Excellent.
So he's teaching, so he feels really, really good. He's actually been on my program. He feels really good about doing that. And you look at that, it's like, really? Do they have to learn that? But they do.
Yeah.
Pancakes, that kind of stuff. That
I've never made a pancake.
Well, I know where they can get some classes, John.
Okay, 10 o'clock on Tuesdays, Johnny. That's when we...
I'm being 100%. I would not know how to make a pancake. You take pancake dough, right?
Like the batter in the box.
Or batter.
Yeah,
well, you can do it. You can make,
Do you mix it with milk or water?
You mix it with, it depends what you're buying, but milk, eggs,
Okay.
Yeah.
I literally have never made a pancake. You know what I'd like to know how to make? How hard is French toast to mix? I love French toast.
Easy.
Okay.
Not bad. Not
All right.
bad.
How'd you like did you have that peanut butter and jelly sandwich? That was made on French toast.
No, I did not have. I should have had
Somebody
one.
asked me that yesterday. Was that made on French toast?
It was.
And I said, I don't know.
It was.
But yeah.
French toast, peanut butter and jelly.
My mom used to make me French toast
Pretty good
sandwiches
stuff.
with like back bacon or Canadian bacon and cheese and melt those together with the French toast.
Yeah.
God, that was delicious.
Oh,
That's good. That's good
isn't
stuff.
that what's the is it a Monte Carlo sandwich? Isn't there something that's kind of like that?
Yeah. Oh, is that French toast?
I
don't
thought it
think
was
so.
French toast
Yeah, I don't know.
with like the ham and cheese and everything all melted together.
Yeah, and now we
I love
just go to McDonald's. We shouldn't do
It's
that.
a fried sandwich with ham, turkey, Swiss cheese, and mustard in beaten egg. Yes.
That okay?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
That's
those
the
are
egg
delicious.
that you dip the French, that you tips it.
Does
bread
anybody serve those? Is there a restaurant that serves Monte Carlo sandwiches?
NFL draft, man. We'll add it to our.
There you go.
To our entire
There
line.
you go.
Add it to the menu. That'll never happen.
Add it to the list of things that will never come true. All right.
But I think today has been great to just talk about how, and even that mortgage guy was really
Jim
concerned
was
about
great.
kids.
Yep.
He's like, hey, look, I'm going to tell these kids you can't afford this, and that's.
Yep.
Like our dad's told us.
All right, we got to start a quick break. When we come back, we are talking Green Blood. James Baker and Chris Preddy talking about the amazing documentary they've been working on for a lot of years on the history and the beginning of punk rock in Green Bay. It's a lot deeper than you think. They'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home of Maino and the Mayor.
Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. The Wisconsin Democratic Party is outraising the state Republican Party at a rate of almost 4-1 this year. The Democrats have raised nearly $20 million, while the state GOP has pulled in not quite $5 million. Both parties filed their September fundraising reports this week. Big donations are driving the numbers for both parties. A new report says agribusiness consolidation has led to less competition, higher prices, and abusive practices. The report's author is Basil Musharbash.
We found that either a single firm or a small, tightly coordinated group of firms have amassed monopoly power, the power to control prices or exclude competitors from a given market in nearly every major industry.
The report finds abuses such as engineered shortages designed to keep prices high. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Thanks to the efforts of an undercover officer from the Outagamie County Sheriff's Office, 41-year-old David J. Fuchs, formerly of Janesville, has been sentenced to 25 years in federal prison for attempting to sexually exploit a 12-year-old child. The Outagamie County Sheriff's undercover officer pretended to be that 12-year-old girl online. Fuchs is a registered sex offender with prior convictions for attempted second-degree sexual assault of a child and sexual assault of an intoxicated victim. Most of Wisconsin is under a high fire threat today, with many counties in northwest Wisconsin under a very high threat. The Wisconsin DNR wants the public to avoid outdoor burning and campfires while the threat is so high. There's a potential for increased fire activity due to the dry weather we're having and gusty winds. And that's what you need to know. I'm Lisa Hale, WGBW News.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Inside Out is the gift that keeps on giving to its fans and obviously to those who created the film. Disney has announced the film received 31 million plus views in its first 5 days of release on Disney+. According to Variety, this is the biggest premiere for a film on Disney Plus since 2021's Encanto. The film is the highest grossing animated film of all time and so far the highest grossing film of 2024. Frankie Valli is speaking up. Not on stage, he's been lip-syncing there. After rumors that Valli has been forced on stage to perform, the 90-year-old legend says he is there of his own choosing because he loves to perform. In addition to seemingly going through the motions, Valli has looked frail in concert videos that have gone viral. Valli released a statement to People.com clarifying that he is not being forced on stage, although the statement was in print, so there was no way to tell if it was lip-synced. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
Mostly sunny today. We'll get to around 71 for a high this afternoon, and it will be a bit breezy at times. Wind southwest 10 to 20, gusting to 25. Tonight, clear, breezy, 48. Tomorrow, sunshine, 74. On Friday, mostly sunny with a high of 69. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Current temperature, 44.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Trying to find a place to stay in Green Bay for the big draft? Go to simpleliferentals.com. Vacation rentals made simple. Our dedicated team of local experts have a passion for hospitality, creating seamless guest experiences for guests. Experience the NFL draft in a vacation home instead of a hotel room. With seamless check-in and check-out procedures and round-the-clock dedicated support, you'll enjoy the convenience of instant online booking at simpleliferentals.com, guaranteeing you a stress-free start to your vacation. simpleliferentals.com.
Jane Matnair and Greg Bach.
Coming up on the show, former Republican Congressman from Illinois, Joe Walsh, will join us. Should be an interesting conversation. He'll be here at 10:30. Don't miss it.
Matnair on air. Can't get enough of Maino and the Mayor? You can watch the show live right now on Facebook. Search for Maino and the Mayor or WGBW or Oshkosh Air Support and see the entire show unfold right before your eyes. Now, back to Maino and the Mayor, John Maino and Jim Schmidt.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Great guests here today, and another one.
James Baker.
Q.
James
Mr. Baker.
How are you?
I am doing good this morning.
Jim's a little disappointed, I got to be honest with you.
Let's hear it.
He thought you were going to be the chief of staff.
Oh, man.
That James Baker?
Yeah.
So I get
Never heard that.
I get to meet a big-time this guy. I'm going to tell you about this guy. And Chris is on the phone. Chris Preddy is on the phone. You guys are with Green Blah. It's a documentary you've been working on for a few years on the history of punk rock in the Green Bay area. Chris, good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Hey, congratulations on staying with this project. I know I dealt with you guys years ago when you guys were first doing it, but you stayed with it. Obviously, you've put it together. It's ready to rock. And I was just fascinated, even in dealing with you guys a few years ago, about the birth of punk rock. It was an underground type thing, but wow, would people, Jim and or have talked, but if somebody has a niche, you'll have all those people come to you. You guys, or what you found out in this, the punk scene in Green Bay was really, whether it was underground or whatever you want to call it was extremely vibrant, wasn't it? And whoever wants to jump in, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say before you do it, we're so known for things, like you said, paper mills, Packers, but we're just not known for punk rock. And when I read about you guys, we should be.
It opens your eyes.
Yeah, there's a lot of connections, especially with the city and what has happened with some of these people that were initially involved in this stuff. They became business owners and, movers and shakers in Green Bay. And there's a lot of people that were involved that today are pretty prominent in Green Bay with businesses and that stuff.
And they were punk rockers.
They were punk rockers for sure, John.
Chris, were you a punk rocker?
I was, and I just kind of want to mention that, when you say that it was underground, I mean, it really was in those early days. It was like a select few people from different schools and different areas of the city, and you really kind of had to seek things out. It wasn't readily available. You didn't have internet. You go to a record store and there's like 12 records in a bin that's sort of like new wave or imports. So you really had to seek it out. And the thing that's special about Green Bay is, we built this up into like a pretty big scene and a big destination for, bands that came here on tour that, really only knew Green Bay through the Packers. So I feel that we, made an impact over the years.
That's awesome.
Smart the way you did that to leverage the Packers for your industry. I mean, a lot of us do that, but they are the front door. But to get them, how was the connection? You say it was kind of, I don't know, underground, if that's the right word for it, but it was such a not well heard of industry. How did you communicate with each other before the internet, before Facebook and everything else?
These are really great questions. So people made fanzines, which were these little magazines, and there's a guy in town named Norb Rosick. He goes by Reverend Norb.
Rev Norb. He's a good friend of ours.
He is. And you know Knob as well, his brother.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to mention him.
Oh, okay.
because he's used to be at work. Remember back in the day when you were a part of my other radio show?
Sure.
And remember Knob would always do the that's what you guys said type thing? Okay. And then Nick. And he's like, don't mention me because I might possibly be working.
Oh, so we won't mention Norb's brother then.
He's not listening because he's working.
So Norb was really an initial person in getting all this stuff rolling and making this happen. It was really just a bunch of misfits that maybe didn't fit in somewhere else or just were outside the box thinkers. Norb made this little fanzine. He saw this advertisement in a magazine that talked about fanzine, and he decided he'd make his own, and it was called Sick Teen.
What was it?
Sick Teen.
Sick Teen, okay.
And it was known throughout the country and actually international at one time, and it was just this handmade, magazine that talked about what was going on. It had record reviews.
Wow.
It had band interviews and that stuff, and it got to a lot of people, and that was our communication before social media.
Well, I remember people, you guys talked, last time I talked to you guys, talked about literally you get a copy machine or something, run it off, you'd hand make a poster, and you would literally tack it up in record stores in different places like that, like Saturday night at this address, and that would be the venue, right?
Correct.
I mean, sometimes there were houses, right?
There's some parties at houses and stuff, and then eventually we gathered up at $50, John, and they were able to set up a show at Northside Bowling Lanes above it. And prior to that, there were a couple bands that were instrumental, the Miners and the Tyrants, and there's some connections with the Packers there, and that's
Bart Starr, one of Bart Starr's sons was involved with it, right?
Right.
He was big in the punks.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the guitar players for one of these early bands, and actually practiced at the Star household down in the basement.
Wow. And isn't it true that Bart and Sherry came to one of the concerts?
They did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bart and Sherry at a punk rock concert. I love that.
Wow. So what year are we talking about this? What about?
Well, for the film, I mean, we do trace it back, to, I would say, like the late 70s.
Okay.
There was another band called Just Punks that were playing, and that was right around 78. And then Miners, Tyrants came along shortly thereafter. And then we pretty much followed the scene throughout the 80s, end of the 80s. And there's a couple of events that go beyond that, to the early 90s, mid 90s, but primarily late 70s and 80s.
And how are we doing today? I don't
Is
follow.
there still
I
a punk
follow
rock
music,
scene? Yeah.
but not as much as I do on the punk scene.
Well, the thing is, there was a real lineage of people who were promoters. And one thing that I can say about Green Bay is, in some of the bigger cities, like if you go to Chicago, there's booking agencies and they're more big time promoters. But with Green Bay, it was the kids who went to the shows who were setting them up. And when we started booking, when Miners and Tyrants were booking shows at Bernie's Game Room, they were doing it themselves. We carried that along to Northside, Norb was one of the promoters there, Jim Runge. So these guys started that Northside era, and then Jim and Kurt, Jim Baker and Kurt Christensen and some others started doing shows after that. Where I'm going is the lineage kind of continues on to Tom Smith, and I'm sure maybe you guys know Tom Smith.
Yeah.
He, does the Green Bay UFO Museum and worked at exclusive company and record shops throughout the decades, and he's still booking shows today, and that is a direct lineage throughout all those years.
Wow.
So, yeah, yep. In
Interesting.
fact, Tom and I did our first show together. I booked a show with Tom. That was his first foray into that. It was a benefit concert for a friend of ours who passed away, and we held that concert to raise money, for the family. And so that's how that got started, really, with Tom.
So Greenblatt is the name of it. The history of Green Bay punk rock. The first 10 years or so. Friday and Saturday, November 1st and 2nd. Film premiere at the historic Carlton Theater, just down the road here, of course, on Walnut Street. How many interviews did you guys do over the course of this, putting it together?
Too many.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, so I tallied the list together. We interviewed 90 people. Some were a combination, in groups,
Sure.
where we had a band with maybe 3 members. When we initially started this, I still remember we were at a restaurant with Norb, and Jim and I sat down with Norb and said, hey, can you put the top 25 people that we need to interview down on paper, which he did. We sat at the restaurant, and Norb scribbled out the list. And, we just kind of kept digging deeper. And the thing is, you interview some person, one person, and they start talking about this, and oh, you should talk to so-and-so. So it kind of spiraled from there. But yeah, around 90 altogether.
Wow. Chris, did anything surprise you? I mean, 90 interviews. Or you, James? I mean, that's a lot of interviews.
As well as you know the punk rock scene.
Right.
Something
Anything
had to
like,
come out that
and you do something that's a 10, 12-year history. Is anything like, wow?
There's a lot of anecdotes. There's a lot of anecdotes that are pretty crazy that you probably don't want to hear right here on WGBW 97.9 FM.
Okay. Or
all right, we can watch
in Oshkosh 98.3.
However,
WSS.
we can go see the film.
I'm really. Did you? Okay, how much archival? What's the word? Archival? How much old footage did you find? Any old film
archives?
Yeah, but it's archival, isn't it? Archival.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Did you find any old film from the punk rock days, like home movies or anything?
John and Jim, there isn't really a lot of that.
That's what I was going to say.
But
they'd have to have borrowed their dad's 16 millimeter or something,
Sure.
right?
We do have some, and we've utilized it as much as possible in the film. And Chris and I went to, long lengths to make that happen. And that's partly why, going back in, Jim, your question was, 90 people to interview. It was really difficult because, as Chris said, we kept getting deeper and deeper into it.
Right.
And that's a big reason why this took as long as it did. It's a big project that had to be broken down into a very small project, a small finishing project.
How are these people now? A lot of these people that have been in some of those bands that are, Middle American Mortgage and Kids and Soccer and all those things. What do they think when they look back at that era that they were in?
Chris?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fond memories, really, and we tried to get a feeling for where people were. I mean, there's some people that came out of the scene that worked directly in music, like Jim Runge. It was a tour manager for a lot of bands, including like the Black Keys when they were at their prime. We have a gentleman, Marky Anderson, who plays in bluegrass bands and is in the Minnesota Music Hall of Fame and has played Carnegie Hall. So, I mean, there's music connections, but then there's just people that, there's people that own local businesses, a soup shop up in Green Bay, up in Door County, or skateboard shops. But yeah, a lot of good memories and a lot of people that continued on playing music over the years.
I have to ask. Oh, go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, like Norb's playing in a band currently, and he started playing in, 1979 down in a basement.
Wow.
So, it was just good to, I guess, look at that history of people.
What was it like for punk rockers in those days? Were they accepted, or were they considered like, ooh, stay away from them? I don't want you to go now with a punk rock band. We've got a couple of good stories about that, because it wasn't really accepted, and just venturing down the street on a skateboard, you sometimes had cars pull up and wanted to fight. Wow.
Or in the mall. There was a show that happened at this venue across from West High School, where the main band didn't play because a big fight broke out between people at the show and just locals that were at the school it was around homecoming. Then we had a show at a biker bar in Neenah that didn't go too well.
Gee, I don't know why a show at a biker bar in Neenah wouldn't
Punk
go well.
rock show at a biker bar?
Huh.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
good scheduling?
Yeah.
There was a lot of name calling for sure, John. And, Chris and I both went to East High in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And we got along with everybody for the most part. But really, if you wore a pin that had a band on it, or you wore Vans or shoes that were different than anybody else, and you didn't have your hair feathered back and parted down the middle with a comb in your back pocket.
Right.
It
Those
was
big combs?
It was pretty weird.
Really?
People considered it, it was, for some reason, it was offensive to them. It really bothered them, and it really came out in a lot of ways. A lot of
It's like you guys were the Antichrist or something, right?
Yeah.
Or anti-polka.
Yeah, that too. But did you guys...
Literally wearing Chuck Taylors and having short hair was like a threat to society or something. It was very bizarre.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, but it seemed like you guys, and I didn't know you guys at the time, but just in the punk thing, it's almost like that made you people a little bit more defiant. It's like, really? You don't like us now? Watch this. We're going to be louder, and we're going to do whatever. You guys had that attitude. I don't think you guys shied away and said, oh, we better not. We're not, with the cool, popular kids anymore. Bleep you, bleep you, bleep you. It seems like that was the attitude of the punk rockers then, correct?
It was, for sure.
Chris?
Yeah. In fact, I just want to point out there was a battle of the bands that happened at Port Plaza Mall, and it was a real interesting clash of cultures because we actually had one of the local hardcore bands, Prisoners of Society, that played at that show, and it was funny because there was a band called Excalibur that at the time was like, they were doing like Jumped by Van Halen and Panama and stuff like that, but they had all this ridiculously like high-end gear. And here we are in the mall playing hardcore, stage diving, and just, showing what we can do in front of, the people that, gave us so much grief in the mall to begin with. So
outstanding. Stick around. We got to set a quick race. James Baker, Chris Pretty, talking about a really interesting thing. I will not miss this. I guarantee you, I'm going to come see this on the 1st or 2nd of November. Green Blah, the history of Green Bay punk rock. This is good stuff. You guys were there at the beginning. Very fascinating. Stay with us. Back after this.
I'll tell you once more before I get off the floor.
The talk of Green Bay, WGBW.
I'm proud to be voting for Kamala Harris and Tammy Baldwin.
Across Wisconsin, people are standing up for Vice President Kamala Harris and Senator Tammy Baldwin because they stand up for us, taking on the big drug companies, lowering the cost of insulin and prescription drugs. They've even cracked down on greedy corporations to put an end to price gouging and surprise medical billing, and made sure no insurance company can deny you coverage for having a pre-existing condition.
Kamala Harris and Tammy Baldwin are fighting for people like me and all of my friends and everybody else I know.
Now, extremist politicians are trying to take away our basic freedoms. But Kamala Harris and Tammy Baldwin are fighting back, protecting our freedom to choose and our right to vote.
A lot of people fought and died for these rights. My parents, my grandparents. There's too much at stake here. We have to get out and vote.
I am going to vote for Kamala Harris and Tammy Baldwin. They are fighting for me.
Paid for by AFSCME People, AFSCMEPeople.org, which is responsible for the content of this ad, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Flo here from Progressive to tell you how you get more than great savings with us. You get customer service access through our mobile app, online chat, or by phone.
That's a lot of ways I can get in touch with you. I see what's going on here. You can't name favorites, but I'm your #1 customer.
Actually, we offer all our customers these ways to contact us.
I'm sure you give just any customer your personal
company
contact info.
Well, you did call us more than any other customer this year. So in that sense, you are our #1 customer.
Get help from Progressive through the website, app, chat, or phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Worthington, Minnesota continues to shine. It's worth a look. We've expanded so many things. It's a time of growth. We've expanded recreation activities with our indoor ice arena, our indoor turf rec center and playground, and our outdoor water park, Worthington, Minnesota. It's worth a look. Our schools have expanded, and so has our industry. We're continuing to expand our population also, with lots ready to build on Glenwood Heights. So let's grow together in Worthington, Minnesota. It's worth a look.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW.
I'll tell you once more before I get off the floor. Don't bring me down.
Hey, welcome back. Maino the Mayor, James Baker and Chris Pretty, the producers, directors, founders, whatever you want to call it, of Green Blah, the history of punk rock in Green Bay. Phil Premier is sold out for November 1st, correct?
It is.
But you guys got a lot of other stuff going on with this. Both you guys, James and Chris, jump in and take it away.
Well, we had film premieres set up for Friday night, November 1st, and Saturday night, November 2nd. Both of those premieres sold out. So because we want everybody to be able to have the opportunity to go if they want to, we set up a third showing on Saturday in the afternoon. That one sold out as well.
Wow.
So because we didn't want to interrupt the Green Bay Packers playing the Detroit Lions on that Sunday, we decided to put a fourth one together, and we're going to have a premiere that's not sold out yet, but it's selling fast. So if anybody wants tickets,
talk about a hot ticket.
You might want to jump on it, and that's at thetarleton.com where you can find tickets. And
wow,
as John said earlier, it's at the historic Tarleton Theater, and they've been wonderful about helping us out.
Yeah, we're going there Thursday to see Big Band, but they have such a variety at the Tarleton. That's what I like about what Tarl does there. It still has those cartoons and cereal on Saturdays.
It's got the big food truck thing on back now.
Let me ask you, who's coming to this? I find this super interesting because I just love the city and I want to learn more about our history. But was there that big of a group, or was it friends? That's pretty cool that you're selling out 4 shows.
So I like Chris said, this started out, initially by just some young misfits that colored outside the lines, wanted to be different, and wanted to make stuff happen. It really was a do-it-yourself or DIY thing, and that goes back to the Miners and Tyrants, some of the other bands.
There were no rules to follow.
There
was
wasn't
no
any
roadmap.
rules.
Yeah.
Which is good and bad, right? Because you had to go out and find your own venues. You had to go out and find your own places to play. And who wants to put on punk rock? Let a bunch of kids come in with not looking, really.
And there might be fights or something.
You never know.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of, trouble getting venues and that sort of thing. But then, as we talked about, it really grew. And it grew from, a small cast of characters to actually, by the time it got to ABC Boxing, there was a couple hundred people at this venue. And then by the time the 80s rolled around, late 80s rolled around, and early 90s, there were 400 or 500 people at every show, and then up to 1,000 plus.
Wow!
Did you have, let's say 78, 79, I think it started. Was there a tipping point? Was there something where you got accepted more, where, how there's tipping points in a lot of things, often like, oh my God, this is going to work. Was there?
It wasn't really until the early 90s.
And was it a big, was it one big band, or was it one, was there something, or did it just grow and then?
I think it just grew. I mean, there was just more awareness. And, the one thing is with Green Bay, we started to attract people from smaller communities around Wisconsin.
Sure.
So there was a big connection with, like the Fox Valley. There were bands that we had play Green Bay regularly that were from Appleton and Neenah and Oshkosh. But then there were kids that were coming from, Manitowoc and Sheboygan and Door County, Wausau. So, I think, some kids just were coming to these shows, and the venues were a bit larger, like Hutzka's Hall that we had out in Howard. And I think just the word got out, and people were having fun. We were bringing in good bands, and people coming from Wausau. Now you've got 10 people coming from Wausau. So it just sort of built exponentially, I guess. And then some of the bands that were coming in, like we had GBH from England that played at Kutzka's Hall. We had Fugazi, who are, massive. They're huge. That's Discord Records. So Dead Kennedys at the Riverside. It was just, it just attracted a lot of people, and it just built up over time. So, when you had that handful of kids that, when we started that first show at Northside, we were hoping we'd get 50 kids to pay the bills. And, it just kind of grew from there.
That is so cool that you guys were the catalyst of that, and people coming in. It was probably a big city for them, some of these kids from Two Rivers, Manitowoc. But, I mean, for you to maintain that, and, obviously you put out a good product, or they wouldn't have come back.
I think, we talk about it in the film. There's a lot of these answers that you can find in the film.
Yeah, we're coming.
I got to see this.
So again,
you got to let me in somehow.
The only premiere that's still available, like we said right now, is Sunday at noon before the Packer game. So you won't miss the Packer game, you guys.
Was it almost in some ways when you guys were at the grassroots level and you guys were outcasts and you guys were almost like outlaws and whatever, was it almost more fun then being versus then all of a sudden MTV started airing some punk rock things and everybody all of a sudden, oh, it's cool, it's popular, look at me, was it more fun back at the start?
I would say 100%.
Always fun to be the rebel.
Chris?
Well, yeah, I mean it is, but you feel like there is still a sense of community, even though it got larger. Maybe you didn't know everybody, but you met new people, and it was just great to meet other like-minded individuals that, really got into the music. And sure, kids came along later in MTV and that, but, I've got to know like younger people involved in the scene, and they do like to go back and dig through the history and find things that are important and meaningful. So there's that aspect as well. I mean, it was nice, being one of 50 people. I mean, that's kind of an exclusive group.
That's outstanding. I have to ask a quick question, though. Punk rockers, chick magnets, yes or no?
I wouldn't say at the beginning. But by the time
Not from her parents.
No.
Right.
Yeah, that was fun going to your girlfriend's house.
Oh, I bet.
With a lot of gear on
I'm sure
some
they'd
crazy
love that.
T-shirts.
Oh,
How
man.
cool that is, though. The example that to find something you like and stick with it. I mean, you're a good example to the youth in the community. There's other things
And be the front runners.
Right. And sticking with it. And even though it was,
I think it's
got
awesome.
great attitudes. I love it.
I don't care what you say. I'm coming to that.
Okay, so we have the premiere.
Yeah.
That's still available for the film premiere. That's Sunday, November 3rd at noon. And there's 2 punk rock reunion shows, which we didn't have time to talk about. And those are Friday night and Saturday night. And those are tickets are still available, but they're selling fast. And that's also at thetarleton.com.
All right.
Leave your information here. We'll promote that.
Thank you, guys.
Great.
All right,
James,
thank you,
great
guys.
seeing you again. Chris, great talking to you again, buddy. We're out of time.
All right, thank you.
Green Blah. You can't miss it. See ya.
The talk of Green Bay, WGBW. T. Schwaba.
On the next night.